Hello, loves. Hi. Hope everyone is doing well today. Let me adjust my volume a little bit before I embarrass myself of the scarf. Alice, hello, welcome, and thank you for 15 months. I am doing my Pride Talk series today. This is my second guest, and I will probably unmute in a second. But how are you doing? What is your drink of choice? And we will also ask Baps that later. Um, but yeah, today I am talking with Babs, who is one of my good friend who is an Ethereum streamer, and she also stream on Twitch. She is actually live on Ethereum right now. So if you hear me talking to people or like answer questions, that's probably like from her chat. But what is your drink of choice for today, Alice? I'm drinking some water. And let me know later if the volume isn't good. Today not doing great, but it will get better. Sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon, alright? Take care. Remember that it's always okay to lick, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be active in chat. I'm just yapping today. Um but yeah, I drinking some water today. I actually um I think I don't know, do I have more water? I do have like a lot of water right now, but I've been my throat been feeling a little bit sick. So let's hope I'm alright, but I can always just like take a quick break to get some get some more water later. But yeah, I'm streaming with Baps today, who sometimes people probably have seen her in my chat before. Um Very lovely person, and we will be talking about, our experience and stuff like that, just like a yapping kind of stream. And that would be my second guess for this series. For you, it's also only some water. Water is good, it's very refreshing. Okay, let me pause the music. Today I'm only using Baps PNG. Um so I can be side by side with her. Let me oops, move something. Let me move myself a little bit before I mute myself. Also, I have to pull up her chat. But yeah, hope everyone is doing alright. Let me see. Also, a lot of people told me that they've been having a lot of fun doing Pride Month. So that's why they've been like they couldn't make it to the stream because they've been having so much fun like all night before, so they couldn't drop by. I'm just like, good for you. Have the most fun you can have. Love that for you guys. And happy Pride. But yeah, this is Babs. Let me move myself a little bit. And then I would tell her, um, let me see. I'll probably let me know if the volume is like too loud later when I unmail because I'm currently like tapping right now. Let's see. Let me adjust the volume a little bit. I am ready to unmute if you are ready. Hee But I hope everyone is being doing well. I know I usually yap so much before that let's get let's get into it. Um and earlier, oh my god, Alice, don't know have you watched the Ford, but in some stew, I in some stew My son Oliver got MPreg, and then he had twins. So lately, whenever we were streaming some shit, everyone just been seeing me being tortured to take care of the twins. Okay. So here's a little recopy. Okay, let me unmute. And if I couldn't if I couldn't like catch up on everyone's message, sorry about that. I'm focusing on my guests. Need to I need to pin this comment actually. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Okay. Mute. Okay, I'm going to unmute and let me know if the volume is too much later. Okay.
The sushi model still kills
Hello.
me. Hi, Jules. Hi, honey.
Hello.
Can you hear me just fine? Is everything coming through just fine enough for you, hon?
Yeah.
Perfect. Guys, everybody over on Irium, can you guys hear Jules just fine as well?
Yeah, let us know how the volume is. Let me look at your chat.
Good here. I'm on the run, please, people. Bye, Rory. Thank you for stopping by, honey. I appreciate you being here, sweetheart. I can hear it's a bit loud compared to you. It's a bit loud. Okay, so I can turn them down just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Jules, by the way, that just joined in too. So if you want to give them a follow here on Irium, they don't stream on Irium yet. Maybe one day when it opens up to their part of the world, we'll have them join us over here. But for now, they stream over on the Twitch, and they are an absolutely wonderful and fantastic person and a good friend as well too. Hi, Jack. Jack, welcome in, honey. Thank you for the stars. Thank you, guys.
How our lives. Okay, this is very
Yeah.
important. What is your drink of choice for today, Babs? And also everyone in Babs chat, please let us know because this is a very important question to me before we start.
I currently have both water and I have coffee.
I also have water as well.
Nice, nice. Does the audio sound good for you on your side too? Does it sound too loud since you popped in?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, beverage,
Yeah.
no like alcohol. Well, if you are drinking alcohol, that's fine too. But just a general question, just something I ask everyone because I'm nosy and want to know.
I love that about that with your streams as well too. Whenever I get the chance to pop in, I always find that so warm and welcoming when you're like asking people what their drink of choices as well too.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Swanton Yeah, Swanson says they are currently drinking a Red Bull sugar-free peach. Ooh,
That sounds
nice.
really good. Very awesome. Very awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, I guess like maybe I should introduce myself first, and then you can introduce yourself. Does that sound great for
Sure,
you? Okay.
that sounds
Um.
perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. In Bath chat, I am Jules. I use they them pronouns, and I'm a non-binary, queer PNG tuber on Twitch. I usually stream a lot of like cozy games and stuff like that, but for this month during Prime Month, I'm doing a series where I'm inviting guests weekly to talk about the experience of like being a member from the LGBTQ plus community because I actually have a 100% rate of regulars being from the community as well. So I try to invite guests to hopefully for them to share the experience as well as helping others to feel less alone in the world because I know that sometimes it can feel a little bit lonely sometimes. So um, this week I had Babs with me.
Yay! Hello, I'm Baps.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, which is perfect because I just had a first time viewer come in. Hello, everybody. My name is Baps, and I am US's retired villain and cybernetic bunny. And I am also occasionally joined by my co host Bob, who is my loyal battle axe. He is also, or my battle axe, but he is also my loyal second in command. He's a little crazy, but we still love him as well too. But yes, I mostly do streams over here on Irium where we do yaps, chats, silly little talks and stuff too. I will play some sort of like comfort kind of music as well too. Occasionally, I will go on long-winded speeches about random different things as well too, because it's like the only talent that I really have is giving impromptu TED Talks. And then I also do occasionally stream over on Twitch as well, but a lot of the times when I stream over on Twitch, I typically do game like challenge runs. Specifically, right now I am doing one on Bloodborne and on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I'm doing a Bloodborne randomized stat challenge run, and I'm also doing a classic Pokemon Nuzlocke run as well too. So I mostly Irium stuff is all about chatting and silliness. Twitch is a lot about gaming and doing silly little challenge runs, occasionally doing collabs with other people. But yeah,
Yay! We love Babs.
yay. Oh, we love you too, Jules, and I love everybody here, and I'm so happy you guys have all chosen to stick with me today and hang out with to hear this little fun interview.
Yay! But it would just be like, a little yap session. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everyone can feel free to, if they have something want to ask, they can ask in chat and stuff like that. So, don't be scared.
Yes, yes. If you guys have any questions whatsoever during this little collab yap session, feel free to ask either in mine or in Jules's chat as well too. Okay?
Hmm. Okay. Is that an Australian accent? It's not. I just have a odd accent. We think you.
I feel like because I've heard people say Australian, I've also feel like people have said you had an English accent as well, like a
Yeah.
European one too. And I
Yeah.
kind of find it kind of funny that I'm just like I like it for the fact that like some people seem to kind of can't figure out where your accent's from, and I think that adds to the whole mystique and fun of your character as well too.
Yeah, it is very interesting because I do occasionally appear on other people's stream, especially for Ethereum and stuff like that. Um and I remember vividly that there were a couple times where I was in Ash chat, and people, the glitch bees was asking like, who is this British person you were talking to? And I was just like, I'm not British.
Thank you for the frog. Thank you, Bam Bam. Hi, Bam Bam. Hi, Legion. I'm gonna drop by while I could. Trying to join back on my lunch break if you're still streaming. No worries, Jack Jack. You're totally fine, honey. You're okay. I just appreciate you guys stopping by, even if you could only stay for a little bit. You are totally okay. Mm-hmm.
Yay. But yeah, hello everyone. I guess like from like the start, do you want to like maybe introduce like your background a little bit, just like maybe like your identity and stuff like that?
Sure. No worries, Dai Dai. I appreciate you stopping by, sweetheart. It's a pleasure to see you and meet you for the first time, honey. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful time here on Irium as well, too, love. Thank you for stopping in, honey. But yeah, hi, Strawberry Milk. Welcome in, honey. Welcome in, sweetheart. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Baps, and I am Irium US's retired villain, and I am doing a little sit-down interview with another fellow streamer here. Well, another fellow PNG Tube streamer. Their name is Jules. They stream over
Mm-hmm.
on Twitch as well too. So, you said what was like my journey and like my kind of like getting into, or I should say like finding my space and stuff too, is what you're asking?
Yeah, like just in general, like about like how you, I guess like maybe find out or discover your identity and stuff like that. And I can also share mine as well.
So I actually, at a very kind of like youngish age, I had like a lot of struggles, with sort of like kind of like because like I was assigned male at birth, but I never really felt comfortable in my body. I never really felt comfortable with who I was, And I struggled a lot of the times with certain things, like aspects, like when I would view myself, like especially like when I'd look at myself in the mirror, the way I would dress and everything too. And I would also see the way that others would dress and present themselves too, and specifically those that were female or female presenting. And I would always sit there and I kind of like wonder to myself, and I was like, why do I not fit that? Like, why am I not that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like was just one of those sort of things that like I just kind of kept quiet for the longest time, because I I grew up in a very conservative, very in a sort of environment that looked upon that in a very negative and shameful light. So it was one of those kind of things that's like expressing those feelings was incredibly looked down upon and even mocked. So I had to stay quiet about that for the longest time, and to the point that it was like it led me down to a road of self-destructive and substance abuses as well too. But it was once I kind of like got myself kind of clean, and started kind of figuring things out too, and also just like getting to the point where I could comfortably talk with people, especially with my friends and stuff too, and other people, that I realized that I was like that a lot of my fears that I had were kind of just sort of like my own, that I kind of came up with, and not ones that were actually grounded. Like I like it more so like less like with like, I mean, obviously like the world today is still like kind of like growing in acceptance, but
Mm-hmm.
more just like my closer friends, I kind of thought that they had like the same kind of views as the rest of the world, so it was very hard to come out to a lot of my like close peers and friends and stuff too, which was a shame because like a lot of them were very open about their own sexuality,
Yeah.
um, and things as well too. Like I had friends that were bi, I had friends that were openly gay as well too, but there was just something. There was like this whole thing of like coming out, like, and even like understanding what I was, in the sense of like being trans and stuff too. Like I never really like called myself that, like for like the longest time. I didn't even know how to identify myself. I just knew that parts of me just didn't feel right, and I wanted to change certain things about myself. So I just, but wasn't really necessarily sure how to do such a thing, so it was hi storyteller, welcome in, honey. Jules, they're a friend that is doing an interview with me. They're a PNG tuber over on Twitch. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it was a long battle, but eventually I kind of slowly started feeling more and more comfortable with myself and my body and stuff too, and then finally talking with others as well too, that I even like, even beforehand, like um I struggled to accept myself in like sort of like the LGBTQ space, as well too, because it just like I wasn't sure where I was, like where I was in my journey and stuff as well too. So it was an interesting time for sure for myself. But yeah, it's been a journey of still growth, and even still to this day, like I still finding myself, learning new things and growing and stuff as well too. It's one of those ever changing little things, like the little caterpillar inside the cocoon, as it were.
Yeah. I feel like it's just something that you don't stop learning more about yourself, to be honest. Like it's not like one day you're going to like figure everything out, because like things can change and stuff like that. I feel like I also relate to you in a lot of ways, where like although like how we identify and stuff like that are very different, but I have like a lot of, I guess, like parallel experience with you as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
really like that is one thing that been really interesting to me, that because even though I only have one guest before you, but there are so many like similarity, even when like people background are very like different, or their exposure to like the LGBTQ plus community were like very different to different degree
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when they were like a young age. But there are like so many parallels and stuff like that. But yeah, like for me, I also like grew up in a very like conservative environment to a point that I actually didn't really know about like gay people until I was like around like 12 years old.
Hmm.
So and that was like kind of really odd because I remember vividly that there was some point in my life where um I played this game called Harvest Moon as a kid, and it was like kind of like
Oh.
a farming game, and you can
Uh
date
huh. Uh huh.
people in that game. And I remember vividly that I had like moment where I was like, I want to marry like this girl character so badly, and I searched up online like, how do I marry a girl as a girl in like Harvest Moon, and then the results said that I can't do that, and I got really disappointed. But it never occurred to me that like, what does that mean? That why did I want to do that? um, but but like they were signs very early on, but I was just in like a very conservative environment where I didn't really had um like the vocabulary to even like describe myself.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I also was like I'm AFAB, but I I think that for me I had like at a young age I also struggle a lot with like gender dysmorphia since a young age. But I just didn't have the vocabulary to like describe what was going on. So it never like occurred to me until I was like maybe 16 or 17 that um I don't like want to be called like a girl and stuff like that. Um but yeah, it's definitely like I think people definitely were more like accepting of like me being queer and
Hmm.
as someone who is like more feminine presenting dating like women and stuff like that than me being non-binary. Like I think that is
Hmm.
just a thing that very common in a lot of spaces where people kind of like don't understand what being trans is. So uh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been like I said, it's also been a very interesting journey for myself, just like with my friends and stuff too, because I mean, they have just as much questions like as I do, even like in my own growth and stuff as well too. Also, hi Arctic, hi Hogs, hi Kessler, welcome in, honeys. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you initially on there too, but hello, hello, welcome in, honeys. I hope you're all
Hello.
having a fantastic day today, loves. Thank you guys for the stars and congratulations, Rihanna, on your badge as well too, love. Mm-mm. But yeah, like it's been very interesting as well too, for just my own as well too, because like I never even considered myself like trans at first. Like I used to go like the only like thing that I would like give myself as a label was like that I was just like a cross dresser.
Mhm.
Was like the thing that I gave myself like as like a the only kind of title that I gave because I didn't know that trans was even like a title.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started like looking more into doing like certain things, and I kept seeing things that were being listed as like transitioning and like and stuff like that too, and I was like, what is all that about? And you know, and there was like talking about people's journeys, transitioning from one sex to the other, which I didn't even know was like even a possibility. Like I always thought that was just something that it was like I would have to have as like a, you know, I used to like envision myself in like some sort of thing that I would find like the magic genie in the lamp, that I would have to take that and like one of my wishes would have to be wishing for that kind of change too. But it was a shock to me to find out that there was like a pathway that I could actually take through medical stuff too, that I could start like actually going down that journey as well too. Hi jellyfish, welcome in, love. It's so good to see you, honey. I hope you're having a fantastic day today, love. I am sitting here with Jules. We are doing a little sit down interview and talking about pride, our transition, and our journeys, our struggles, and our joys and stuff too. But yeah, um, but yeah, I for me, it's just always been like a constant evolution of this journey for me when it comes to certain things too. Um, like with like how I've like identified myself, and even like during stuff too, because even like when I started taking my first steps towards transitioning, the first thing that I did was, before I even started on HRT, was actually I just started kind of dressing more to the way that I was, that like I started dressing more to how I felt comfortable with, and I would just sort of like see how I felt about it, and if it was making me happy like that I thought it would, and being more public about it too, because I used to have like, I mean, I had clothing, I had makeup, I had all sorts of stuff like that too that I would, use, but I would never ever like leave my house with it. I would never like show myself in any way to anybody. For the longest time, it was just this very scary kind of thing, because I just wasn't sure how um, people and friends and even family would perceive that kind of look. Because again, like, it was just sort of like this deep rooted kind of thought process in myself that, um, having those discussions with people, and especially like friends and family, that I was going to be mocked or ridiculed or something like that too. And I would even lose friends because of it, because I would be seen as something, worse or something like that too. So it was just like this very big struggle, but I did that for about 2 years. And it was even like when I did um start dressing and start like, using makeup and things like that too, it was even like, it was like almost like a full year before I started asking people to start using she her pronouns, because again, I was just like, I wasn't sure if that was even like something I could say, that I could even talk about, with people too, because I wasn't sure how people would receive that as well too. So I still used he him pronouns even during parts of my transition and stuff too, up until a certain point, that like it was kind of like a wild moment, because I kind of like actually got upset, because um like, as I was like, as because how I was presenting myself too, that people would see me, and then they started using, they kept using he him, and I kind of was like, hey, would it be okay if like I started doing this? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. And it still has been, because like a lot of my friends have known me prior to my transition. So even still, they still occasionally, and they don't do it maliciously. It's not like they do something malicious, because like a lot of times they'll catch themselves and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It's like, no, it's okay. I understand, um, and whatnot too. But yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been interesting. But like, yeah, like what you were saying too, like even knowing about any of this kind of stuff, like as a young age. Now, I like, for me, I always tell this fun story that I have when it comes to like gay people and stuff too, because my parents, or specifically my mom and my grandmother, were huge, huge fans of Elton John.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that know, Elton John is, an openly gay, singer and stuff too. But because my parents were so deep in the church and stuff too, and their views on gay people and stuff as well too, being like, in their eyes, it was very wrong, it was unacceptable and stuff like that too. So I always like had that kind of like conflict. I was like, how can you guys sit there and say this, but still like his music and still like this person and stuff as well too? So yeah, it was definitely one of those kind of things that was just like, I started questioning certain things back then, but again, because being a tiny little bean and a large family and stuff too, you don't really ever question things. You just kind of go with the flow of stuff, and you're just like, oh, okay. But eventually, I did start kind of like asking questions more openly with my family about certain stuff. I was just like, how come? Like, why? Kind of stuff too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like it's kind of like really like a really common experience. Like the more I talk to people, that especially for like people who are trans, that um a lot of times, like even when you are transitioning, or like you have already figured out like your identity, but oftentimes, like even for me, I never medically transitioned, because I
Mhm.
couldn't really do that because of my health. But it's not really a big deal for me. But I remember, like for me, it's like the same as like I wouldn't like tell people that I am non-binary, and I wouldn't tell people to use like they dampen me, even though it was very obvious to me that I just didn't want to be like called like a she or like a who and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I didn't even like, even when I have like processed it that I'm non-binary for like, I think that at that point it was like 4 years or more. I was still like letting people to call me like she her, and like I wouldn't correct them and stuff like that. um I feel like it's kind of like, other than like maybe like it was a part of not being able to like fully accept that, it's also like fear of what other people would say, because
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people it's a really big change. um but yeah, I didn't grow up in the church, but I went to Catholic school, so I have like the same experience of like hearing all the like homophobic and transphobic things like growing up.
Oh yeah, and it's very interesting experience when it comes to that stuff. Also, hi Roku Nana, hello, welcome in, honey. Hope you're having a fantastic day, love. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm joined by Jules. We're doing a little collab chit chat, interview session talking about our journeys, with it being Pride Month and stuff as well too. So yes, but I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic morning today, love. But no, I was raised under a very controversial church group. They are known
Mm-hmm.
as for those that know about this group, they're called Seventh Day Adventist.
Ooh, I do
Um,
know. Yep,
yeah, I was like when I as soon as
I
like
get the
some
vibes
people like
now.
as soon as I yeah, I was like, as soon as I tell people that I was like, yeah, I was raised under the Seventh Day Adventist Church. A lot of people have that sort of like reaction of like, oh God. I was like, yeah, yeah, it was an interesting, it was a very interesting experience too, because there was a lot of certain things that um, I was allowed to do that I wasn't allowed to do. Certain things that were expected of me and whatnot as well too. But the older I grew, the more I became sort of a problematic little being, especially during church services as well too. Because like as I got older, I started asking more questions. I started like kind of saying like, hey, like why this and stuff like that too. And in a setting like that, you don't do that. Like, and then the more rebellious I became. Hi, Corex, welcome in for the first time. My name is Baps, and I am Miriam US's retired villain and Cybernetic Bunny, and I am joined by today by Jules. We are doing a little sit down talk, talking about Pride Month, our transition, and everything as well too. So welcome on in, sweetheart. It's so wonderful to have you stop by, and I'm happy to see you here, love. But yeah, as I said, it just like the more and more I grew, like the more, but then it's like at the same time, like there was always that sort of like fine line that I walked,
Mm-hmm.
about like with when it came to questioning stuff too, because I was always so scared of also like sort of like outing myself because of like my own like internal struggles and stuff too. So it'd be more of like a how come, but like don't give that sort of vibe that like I'm asking because I am that or because I have thoughts about being like, in the considered in the LGBTQ space as well too. So there was a lot of things that kind of came down with that too. And there's even like a time in my life too where I kind of like sort of like flipped on itself because I was so adamant that I didn't want others to know about my lifestyle and stuff too, and things like how I felt and stuff in the background. So there would be occasions that I would even make like the very inappropriate joke that I should never have made, but I
Yeah.
did it just because I thought it's like if I make this joke, if I like make like a sort of like a silly little jab, then it would throw people off. Like it was I always kind of attributed to like like those like the gay pastors that that like have like the straight family, but behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes they they have that kind of thing like going on kind of stuff. It's like I kind of like attributed not to that full extreme because I was never like hateful in that way, but like I definitely, if somebody like made like a joke about something like that too, I would laugh alongside like, oh yeah, haha, that's so funny, blah blah blah, kind of thing like that. Well, internally I'd be like, that's like I would know it was wrong, but like I didn't ever want to like argue against it too in that same way too, because again, I always like wanted to make sure like if people like didn't never question certain things about myself too. But it was kind of funny, like when I finally did come out to like a lot of my friends, like a couple of them were like, "Oh yeah, we kind of figured," and I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh okay." So it was kind of nice for that too, with some of them too. But like going back to like what you're saying though, like when it came to like talking about like asking people for like use of pronouns and stuff too, I think like the biggest thing that a lot of us struggle when it comes to changing like asking people to like like instead like go by like from me, from going by he him to she her, and you going by from she her to they them. I think a lot of times, I think what gets us scared about that too is it really comes down to like people asking us questions about it too, and like our comfortability and like sort of like how we want to try to answer, kind of things too, because like nobody ever wants to like get grilled on like like a questions and answer kind of thing too as well, like like why like this, well blah blah blah, this kind of stuff too, because it can feel very on the spot and can feel a little it can be kind of hard at times to want to to like have those kind of discussions too, because you don't want to come off as well that you're I guess maybe ignorant of it too, and then you can have people sort of like starting to question yourself in that way as well when it comes to, and you obviously don't want to get argumentative with like your friends as well too, so it can be tough. I feel like, I think that at least for me in that sense, like that was one of the reasons that like for the longest time myself, like when it came to like asking people to use like the correct pronouns, um in that way. But somebody else like kind of said it to me that I've like really kind of held on to, and it's kind of helped me, is that it's like it's respecting ourselves. And you want like you obviously want to like respect your friends, and you want to show love to your friends and stuff too. So like if you're something about your friends that like that they ask you, like you of course want to like say like, hey, you want them to be honest with you. So it's like we have to kind of reflect that same kind of honesty with ourselves. Like we want our friends to say, "Hey, I'd rather go by it. Like this is kind of like a thing. Can you either A, do this or not do this kind of thing too?" Like we also want to make sure that we're also, kind of giving that same energy back too. Just to show, not so to be like aggressive, but to like to show that like comfortable with like your friends and stuff too, so that way they know, and then you can also talk with them about it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, honestly. Like, I. Okay, like, I was like one of those people who used to be like, it sounds so cheesy, but it's like so right. Like I would like pray the gay away, like when I was a kid. When I discovered my
Yeah.
sexuality in general, I remember like because my family isn't actually like religious, but I just like been put into like a Catholic school for like many years, like since I was a kid. So even though I was never like baptized, I have like a lot of like ideas of like I shouldn't be gay, and as well as I just grew up in a very conservative like environment where um back then like gay people weren't even like talk about like um I do think that people like at a young age I did have a concept of people who are trans, but I only knew trans women exist, but I didn't know trans men exist. But I didn't really
Hmm.
know like what does it mean. So it was like kind of a weird line where like in the environment where I grew up I knew about trans people before like gay people. Um but I remember like for for me, I went back and forward a lot with how I want to like identify, even when I was like so sure that like I like would never be with a man and I don't feel like I'm girl. I would just like backtrack a little bit because I think that it was
Hmm.
also um especially when you tell people about it when other people are not like very educated about it, they they expect you to have a very structured answer to tell them, but sometimes you don't have that because that's just how you feel. So I remember like especially when I came out to people as non-binary. A lot of times people will
Hmm.
ask me like, what kind of like bathroom do I go to, which is like a big thing that all trans people like experience. I feel like, um, I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah.
I don't really care. I just go to like the women's bathroom and call it day, Um, and they will ask me then how can you be like non-binary if you said that you're not a girl and you are going into like the women's bathroom. And it just like I think it can be like very exhausting, so I didn't
Hmm.
want to like tell a lot of people. I still am not like fully out in like my like in real life, just because I do think that um the society I grew up in is a lot more like conservative, where I cannot be like completely out, especially with being non-binary. But I definitely have went through that phase of like saying, well, not saying so, or maybe I wouldn't like participate in certain like conversation and be like, kind of like when people are saying like homophobic things, I wouldn't like jump in because I
Hmm.
didn't want to be like people be hateful towards me and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and it's like it's hard, especially too. Like I feel like there's like the certain things like when it comes to those that are like obviously like trans male, trans female, but I feel like the there's not enough that's talked about when it comes to those that are like a part of the non-binary space as well too, because like it's a whole nother like thing to tackle as well too,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to certain conversations as well, because it's like how can you sit there and say it's like that you don't identify with either, like like clearly like you have to make a choice, and it's like no you don't, like gender is a social construct, in that kind of sense too. So with like a lot of certain things as well too, it's like if you don't seem like you feel like you fit, either of those sort of things, then it's like yeah, it's like well I don't feel either this way or this way. I don't feel like I fit the definitions of this, and I don't feel like I fit the definitions of this either. So it's like I feel like I find myself more in something like this as well, and that's where I feel the most comfortable to say, in that kind of sense as well too. Also, by the way, sorry for not saying it, but hi Kimley, hi Maple, hello, hello, welcome in both of you, and hi CJ, welcome in loves. It's so good to see you all. Thank you for joining in the stream today. I am currently joined by Jules. We are having a fun little sit down talk right now, talking about Pride Month, our journeys in the LGBTQ space as well too, and everything as well too. So sit back, get comfy. If you have any questions whatsoever for us as well too, feel free to ask. We'll try to keep an eye on chat. Both on mine and also on Jules is on their Twitch side as well too.
yeah,
But yeah,
hello.
like and like even like going back to like what you're saying, like being even fully out and stuff too, because I know there's a couple people that I know that are trans as well too, but haven't come out yet too. Like Mephistus was saying earlier, they are trans, and they've started kind of on their journey too. But depending on like where you live at, it can be a little bit more acceptable. It can be less acceptable. Like for me, for where I live at right now, it's definitely something that, while I have been very fortunate that there is, like in some of my places, it's a little bit more acceptable, and I have admittedly, with my transition and stuff too, I am a bit more passing than
Mm-hmm.
some others as well too. So I have done a lot to, like to kind of improve myself as well too. Um, but yeah, it's like it's one of those kind of things that like the way that I have dressed, the way I have maintained myself as well too, and certain things too, especially with like makeup and stuff as well too. I had a fantastic, well, I'm gonna put fantastic. I had a really really knowledgeable teacher to teach me makeup. Unfortunately, the person that taught me how to do makeup and skills and stuff like that too, um, later found out was not a good person, and I had to kind of cut them out of my lives, due to things that just yeah. I'll say as a brief thing, they were okay with cheating. They were
Yeah.
okay with just cheating on their partner, and I was not okay with it. And yeah, so I eventually had to kind of cut them out of my life because that they chose to be unfaithful to their partner, um, and stuff too. And instead of like being an adult and having conversations, they decided they were going to do things behind, and I just couldn't find that acceptable anymore. Um, but because of their what they taught me, and things as well too. Hi Tiger, welcome in, honey. Thank you for joining in the stream, and thank you for the stars, love. I'm currently joined by Jules. We are having a fun little sit down interview talk about Pride Month as well too. Also, congratulations, Swanathan. Let's
Congrats.
go!
Yay.
Yay!
We
Badge
love
up!
badge.
Yeah, we do love badges. But thank you so much, hon. And it's like I I say for that kind of stuff too. Um, I say it's very tough, when it comes to certain things too. Like I said, like for those in the specifically like in the LGBTQ space as well too. Um, when it comes to our transition and stuff too, and like talking about it as well too, especially even like for just like Pride Month, because there's always that sort of like stigma of like why do we need to have an entire month dedicated to us kind of thing too. And
Yeah.
it's like like for a lot of us, it's not so much that we're just like we're demanding to have this. It's more the fact that there's been so much negativity and so much kind of like hate led towards people of us as well too, that it's sort of like a moment to kind of recognize that it's like, hey, we exist, we're here, as well too. So it can be not so much like a sort of like us just sort of like saying, hey, you know, pay attention to us, kind of thing like that too, kind of thing like that, but more just like kind of recognize the struggles and the growth we've gone from as well too. Hello, Eclipse. Welcome in, honey, for the first time. My name is Baps, and I'm your US's retired villain and cybernetic bunny, and I'm currently joined by Jules as well too, another fellow streamer. They are a PNG Tube streamer over on Twitch as well too. But welcome in, honey. I hope you enjoy your time here. We're having a little fun sit down collab talk about Pride Month and our journeys as well too. And if again, if anybody has anything that they want to talk about as well too in the chat, I'll try to catch them as best I can. I've been on T for 6 plus years. I have facial hair, a low voice, top surgery, and most people never realize yet I still get terrified. The wrong people will somehow, especially now. Oh, 100% Hong. I totally get that. We've had a couple other people, in my streams as well too, that we that have had been on the same journey as well, when it comes to those kind of things too. And even for like myself as well too, like I have not had any cosmetic surgery. And even like cosmetic surgery can be very, kind of can be very scary too.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain things too. I know like for those that were assigned female at birth, like top surgery can be a very scary kind of thing, as well too, because like the scars that are left behind. And those that are, as like myself, that are assigned male at birth, getting bottom surgery as well too can be a very challenging and kind of experience as well too. Um, and it can be, and then when it comes to those like you were talking about, Jules, like for yourself, being non-binary, any kind of like sort of surgeries or any kind of like transitions and stuff like that too, can be, it's like what do you even like want to do with that in that sort of sense? Do you want to do top surgery? Do you not want to do that? Do you want to have some kind of like cosmetic kind of thing like done to you as well too? But it's like, and I think it's like we were going back to like what we were saying in the beginning, like it's all about our journey, where basically these caterpillars sitting inside of a cocoon and trying to figure out which way we're trying to grow before we, and even like still like we can even basically be in that kind of same kind of thing too, um of like how we we find ourselves and like where we are on that sort of spectrum as well, and like how far we want to take our transition and how far we want to go within stuff too, and like what we're comfortable with as well.
Yeah. Also, I
I
saw
I
in your chat that people been sharing like stuff about themselves. I just want to say
Yeah, yeah.
like for those who are like, I know like for you, a lot of people are living in like the US, and I do have a very big audience of like US viewer. I just want to say that like I know that things are like very, you know, difficult and it can be very scary, you know. And I just want to let people know that like you're not alone, and you know it's always good to be able to, if you are able to, like please do find out more about like your local resources and stuff like that because it can be very helpful. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
it is very scary like how things are, which is like kind of part of the reason why that I always try to do things during Pride Month, because I also did that last year since a lot of people in my community have told me that they can't really like celebrate during Pride and stuff like that. So I try to do things during Pride so it just we can have a sense of like celebration as well, even though it is like online and stuff like that. But yeah, I can
Hmm.
see you guys and I hope that everything is like alright. And yeah.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And it's like even like I know like things can be tough for all of us. And there's always that sort of like fluctuation that goes with it where it's like, you know, we have a little bit of progress when it comes to certain things and there might be a little bit of like a backtracking. But I think the thing to always think about is like where we've come as a community as well too. When it comes to the sort of like LGBTQ plus community as well. You know, like several years ago, it was still very much like, I mean, it was illegal for gay people to be married.
Yeah.
It was, you know, basically, and even prior to that, it was completely acceptable to basically like hate crimes, you know, to be fired from your job, to be unaccepted from, you know, any kind of positions of like any employment and stuff like that too, because of, you know, your sexuality and stuff like that as well too, and even for other things as well too, you know, even for like for women and stuff too, there's been growth as well for, you know, for rights and stuff too. So while things are rough and things can be scary, I think the thing to always remember is that we are always on a constant path forward. And while things can be very tough in the beginning, it can always be, you know, there's always going to be a positive side at the end of the light. There's always going to be little hills that we have to kind of climb back up as well too. But you know, when we get to the top of that hill again, we can see a brighter future as well too. Hi Ari, hi Model Sib, welcome in, honey. Thank you for joining in and thank you for the stars, love. Thank you, thank you. Well, we are currently, I am joined by Jules. We are talking about Pride Month. We're talking about our transition and stuff as well too. Hi Bladewood, thank you so much, hon. I appreciate that so much from you, honey. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Bye, CJ. Take care. Thank you so much for stopping by, sweetie. It's so wonderful to have you here. I appreciate you being here, love. Mm-hmm. But I am joined by Jules. We are talking about our transition as well too, and everything as well too. But yes, and I like I say for I've talked to with a couple people about this as well too, that I I think that the main thing to always think about when it comes to certain things too is that there's always going to be another wall in the way. There's always going to be some kind of struggle that we always have to seem to face ourselves as well too. But I think the main thing to always think about is that like for ourselves that the main thing is like yes there is always going to be struggle, there's always going to be strife, there's always going to be something we have to overcome or to overcome and difficulties we have to push forward through, but the main thing is that the main thing to always think of is to never give up, that we have to keep pushing forward, we have to keep, you know, our progress together as well too, and you know always remember that you're never alone. You always have people that are there rooting for you. You know, like there are always people that want to see you succeed. They want to see you be the best versions of yourself as well too. And while there can be a lot of times that we have like those negative self thoughts that tell us that, you know, that we are, you know, not worthy of love, we're not worthy of those kind of things too. There are a lot more people out there that love and care for us as well too. For those as well too. No worries, Jonathan. You're fine, love. Hi, Brainique, and hi, G Dubs. Welcome in, honeys. I hope you're having a fantastic day.
Yeah, that
But
always would
yeah,
be like a community to support you even when like when the environment isn't like look that great or like the virtue doesn't look that great, like there will always be like a community for you. It just sometimes it's a
Hmm.
little bit difficult to find. Because I never shared this on stream before, so this is like the first time I'm talking about this, but I actually live in a place where gay marriage is illegal, and there are also a lot of what's it called, like there's no laws that prevent like people from the LGBTQ plus community being discriminated against. So I kind of have like a first hand experience of like how like laws and like politics can be like very restricting and stuff like that of like people who are from the LGBTQ plus community, but still like in a space like that you can there are always like community and people you can talk to about it.
Hmm. 100%. And I know, I hope for, thank you for the star eclipse. Thank you, hun. Hmm. But no, it's like, and I hope that one day, wherever it is that you live at, and obviously don't dox yourself
Yeah,
and stuff
no
too,
doxing.
but that, yeah, say don't dox yourselves. Make sure you guys always protect yourselves. Make sure you don't want to accidentally, reveal where you guys specifically live. You want to keep your kind of peace and your safety and stuff too. Um, but yeah, I do hope that, like, one day that wherever it is that you live at, or if you decide to move from wherever you're at to somewhere better and stuff too as well, that you can find that peace and community and safety. And like, I kind of struggled with that like before. Honestly, I would say Irium has become that wonderful place for me because before joining Irium, I kind of, like, while I was kind of on the up for my transition and my journey and stuff too, after certain things had happened, here, I don't really ever like talking about politics,
Yeah,
on my streams and stuff too. But I will say after the most recent election with the Trump administration and stuff too, and seeing things, and I even had friends and family members who were very much on that side of the spectrum, on the red hat side
yeah,
of things too. I lost a lot of faith. I lost a lot of faith with a lot of things, and I was convinced that it was over. That at this point in time, that like I had fallen down into a spiral of depression. I even had cut off some friends that I had been with, that I considered even, basically siblings for many years. People that I had grown up with and stuff too, um, because of their choices and stuff as well too. And no matter what I argued with them, no matter how much I kept saying to them, they were convinced that I was just being, overblown with stuff, that I was um, certain things that that I was convinced were going to happen, that they were just saying that I was being too dramatic and everything like that. And now you see where the world is at now today. You can kind of see some of the things that were talked about, are starting to kind of move to that same direction that a lot of people warned about. um, and even some of them have tried to reach back out to me to want to talk and stuff too, but I have basically said, hey, actions have consequences. Like, you hurt me, and my trust is broken in you at this point in time. So I feel at this point in time that our paths have separated. And while I hope the best for you, I don't feel comfortable being around you anymore. I don't feel like I can trust you anymore, too, because you ignored everything and it hurt me. And so, but um, like I said, I had lost a lot of my trust and things like that too. And I kind of felt that there wasn't much of a space that was for people like myself and others. Oh man, sorry. Let me take a drink.
it's okay, take your time.
Mm. Sorry. I just felt like I was losing my voice there for a second. Um, and I felt like I was kind of losing my a lot of my hope for things too. But I had kind of like I there was still like some glimmer of hope that I still kind of had, where I was still kind of exploring around and viewing different things too. And one of the things that I had started kind of watching was like VTubers, and I had seen that some of the space was, very accepting of the LGBTQ community and stuff too. But I wasn't sure about it. But one of the things that now, admittedly, I will say this is one of the things that like I don't talk too much about, but because I'm very shameful of it. But I had joined um, when I started looking into VTubing and stuff too, was also sort of like a financial career path as well too, because I thought I was seeing how much money certain people were making from it, and I was like, maybe I can do this. Maybe this is something simple. Maybe I can also kind of like get on here too. I can have, like a female model. I'm more female presenting this way too. I can hide behind a character. People can, if I use like a voice changer and stuff too, like maybe I can be more accepted in this way too, because I was kind of like giving up on my own transition journey too. Um, but and so like that's when I started applying to different VTuber corps, looking around and things too, and eventually I found Bond Live, and I had applied to them. I even had like an actual interview with Bond, but they were just like, "Hey, we only stream over here on this app. It's called Irium," and I was like, "I have never heard of this before. I don't know what this is. I'd only ever heard about streaming on Twitch and YouTube." So I had started checking out more Irium, and the first thing that happened is I joined Irium in June around this time. This is my one
Mm-hmm.
year anniversary, just even being on Irium. And the first stream that I went to, the first thing that had happened was that the person was like, "Hey, welcome in. Well, happy Pride Month. It's also Mental Health Month as well too. No matter how you identify under the rainbow, you are loved, you're accepted." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like wait, what is going on here?" And the more I explored around, like the more accepting I felt people and how loving and kind everybody was on here too, and it just kind of like it slowly started to rebuild my hope. And even though I didn't get accepted into Bond, um, I still wanted to be here. I still wanted to stay on Irium, and I still wanted to kind of take a path of trying to go into the VTubing space. But I ended up applying just directly to Irium, just through their debut support program as well too. And yeah, and then I eventually got accepted. But I felt such kind of like shame of like why I kind of started going into just VTubing and stuff too, um, with like why I wanted to get into this, because I was like, oh, this will be a great way for me to make money, blah blah blah, and stuff like that too. And so that's when I made the commitment, and along with a friend of mine too, that I started to donate. I pretty much I donate almost all of my Irium profits, anything that I make on here, to certain charities and stuff as well too. Um, like my first big run on Irium when I first got on here too, like from the moment that I debuted all the way until December, everything that I had made points wise on Irium, I donated to this charity called Extra Life, and it was for a charity that helped pay for medical bills for children. That during the holiday season and stuff too, and so I've donated to them. I've donated as well to the Technoblade, and then I'm actually trying to find something for this month here for Pride Month as well too. Just sort of like one of those kind of things where I'm just like I want to make sure that I can like fix like some of my mistakes and stuff as well too, because it's all about our like growth and stuff as well too. Like and helping others also, being supportive of others that are on here that may be struggling too with their transition too. I have introduced people to Plume, which is what I use for my transition as well too. I've had Mephistus, who signed up for it as well too, talking with them, and others to try to help them find their avenue as well too. And it's like one of the things that I'm so proud of the Arium community for, and what we've been able to do on here to talk to people, introduce them to a fun space and a safe environment as well too. And like for yourself, like what you were saying before, that it's like people, like in an area where things can be a little rough and you're not sure, like like where there aren't some protections and stuff too. There's always this communities, there's always these spaces, these safe havens for us to express ourselves, to be ourselves in a safe way, and show love and kindness and stuff too.
Yeah, and I want to say that I'm really I not me, not just me. I think that everyone are very glad that you're here. Like no matter how you got here, it's like
Hmm.
we're just glad that you're here and stuff. A lot of um I think that a lot of people when they got into VTubing, it also like come from like a sense of like loneliness and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who have that experience as well and think came in for money and as well as wanting to find like a place that they belong to. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. And also, I'm really glad that you're here.
Yeah, and I mean it's been fantastic, and I'm honestly glad that you're here as well, Jules. Even though like you may not be a streamer here on Ethereum, you're still someone who I know is treasured in the community. You have been a fantastic friend to Ash and several others, and I am so incredibly thankful that I have been able to make such friends and find like new connections to stuff and people as well too. It's honestly been just a wonderful time. It's been a wonderful experience as well too, and I'm happy that you are here as well too. And I'm proud of you for your journey as well too, and what you've gone through as well too. And our journey's not over. Our journey is still going on. We're still continuing forward. We're still pushing forward, trying to find a better, happier life for not just for us, but all of our friends and families as well too. And
Yeah.
I like to say for a lot of times like it's one of those kind of things that I like to say um just on like the general perspective of stuff is that like family is, a lot of times people think that family is just blood, but or DNA or something like that too, like some kind of like relation like that. But I truly believe that family is not so much like actual blood relative kind of thing like that. It's the people you choose to keep around you. It's the people that you choose to be in your space and stuff as well too. So it's like, we may not have, a direct connection in some way because of like, our blood ancestry and stuff too or whatnot though. But if you choose to be in my space, then I choose to accept you as, brother, sister, sibling, or anything like that too, like those kind of things as well too. And that's just kind of one of my big thoughts as well too. Also, thank you for the rose card wizard. Welcome in, honey. Thank you for the star. And hi, Luca. Welcome in, honey. Welcome in.
Yeah. I think find family is like such an important thing. And
Hmm.
honestly, I think that a lot of times I just like call them my family. It's not like,
Yeah.
even though like a lot of times I think that for people from the LGBTQ plus community, like of course like you would like your biological family to accept you, and that is something that many people really crave.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
a lot of times even when your own family doesn't accept you, it doesn't matter because you can create your own family.
Oh,
um,
yeah.
it's very important to be surrounded by supportive people. Like even if like what I like to say is that a lot of times when people tell me that they came out and their family wasn't like really accepting of them, I always say that, well, then they don't really deserve to be your family, to be honest. It's okay. It's all right to be like disappointed and upset about it. That it's ultimately it's like their loss for not having you in their life. Like if they can't accept you, that is their loss.
Oh, yeah. 100%. It's like and say I've had the unfortunateness that while my my mother and my father and my sister have been accepting of my transition. Hi Hugh, hi Uncle Limp, welcome in, honeys, welcome in. I hope you're also having a fantastic day. I think found family is more important than blood family. 100% Ventus. I completely agree. 100%. But yeah, I have had unfortunately my biological brother who in in my face was saying he was supportive, but I later found out that he was not, and it was through very unfortunate circumstances that some leaked text from a mutual friend of ours who basically cut him off. He was like, "Hey, me and your brother have been friends for like they were this person and my brother had been friends since they were literally in elementary school." And they got into a conversation, and my brother just kind of went off on a tangent and said some incredibly disturbing things. Um, and he basically was uncomfortable and he was like, "Hey, I'm cutting your brother off. I don't ever want to have contact with him again," kind of thing too. But I was like, "If you want to see them, I can show them to you." And at first, I didn't want to see them because I didn't want to believe it. I genuinely was just like, "No, I don't want to see it because I don't want to think that about him." I love my brother. I still, even still after seeing those things, everything that he said, like, and as much as I like, even though I've cut him out of my life, though, like, I don't hate him. If anything, I more pity him because he's gone through a lot in his life, and I know it's not an excuse for his behavior, and for the things he said, though, but I know he's just had um, sort of a rough time with certain things in his life, too. It doesn't justify what he said and things, too, but just, the hate speech that came out of his mouth as well, too, plus some of the racist things that he said in those texts as well too, just were you know shocking in to say the least. And so I decided for my own health, my own mental health and stuff too, that I basically had to say I was done with him. And I tried one time to reach back out to him, and that was when our father was he was basically, there was a good chance that he was gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to talk to him, saying, "Hey, let's put our things to the side. Let's we have to kind of think about dad, kind of thing too." And the only thing he could say to me was to misgender me, and to say the most insanely rude things to me as well too, and just be aggressive and hostile with me. And I was like, okay, that was it. I tried to put this olive branch out, then maybe we can start trying to rebuild something from here. And he pretty much did not want to have anything to do with it. So from that moment, I knew that, sadly, I just don't think that there's going to be a chance that this, kind of thing can be repaired. And I hate saying that because, like I even would like to hope to think that even like some people that I've kind of cut off for now, that, maybe one day down the road we can repair. But I just don't think that with how my brother has acted and continues to act, I just don't know if there's ever a chance for that. And it stinks. But it can be very scary. But I realized, like, in my own transition, like when I did come out, um it was I did lose friends. I did lose some people because of it. And I realized, like, the one of the reasons that kind of kept me from coming out and talking to people and things as well too was because I was scared of losing those people. But I think the big thing that really kind of hit home for me was that I realized that I had been basically wearing a mask and had been pretending to be somebody that I was not. And I was scared that these people would see who I really was and hate me for that. But I couldn't continue to wear a mask the whole time because I can feel myself suffocating behind it. It was basically like I was wearing like a mask that didn't have any air holes, and I was running out of oxygen at that point in time, and I was struggling to breathe. And each day that passed was getting harder and harder. And eventually it was like, but I kept it on because I didn't want people to see who I was behind it. And eventually, like I couldn't do it anymore, and I couldn't be that way anymore. And I realized that it's like I have to be honest with myself. I have to be honest with how I am, and if they cannot accept me for who I am, then they are not my true friends. And while I may have lost some friends, I have gained more. in the time, and I don't think I ever would have gained the friendship that I've had, especially here on Irium, and even others outside of Irium and stuff too that I've gained as well, along here too, that have honestly been so much better and brighter. You know, like obviously, like I still have like those fantastic memories of us, like when we were younger, and some of the fun things we did and stuff too, and genuine experiences that we had. But if I have to be honest with myself too, I have to accept that, that was a time in my life that's like, those are different times in our lives as well too. And while, I can still cherish those memories, there are more memories to be made. And, if those people choose to walk alongside me along that journey, then that's their choice as well. Same with mine too, to continue down ours, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing with yours as well, Jules. Like where, like we have to eventually, like you said, like you're not completely out, with like everybody too, because you're always sort of scared with how people can be. But we have to sit there and think about ourselves as well too. It's like respecting ourselves and growing ourselves and being there for like we can't go through these sort of things without a little bit of self love and a bit of self care as well too. And if people aren't willing to be, accept that too, then were they really your friends, all along, or were they just friends with somebody that they thought you were? And it's, we have to kind of have that sort of like self honesty as well too.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
really sorry that you experienced that, by the way. It's like, it's such a sadly like very common experience
hmm
when it really shouldn't be common, but unfortunately that is just how it is. I'm really sorry that that happened, but I'm really proud of you for everything that you did, everything that you um went through and you flew through.
Yeah.
um and
Yeah.
yeah, mental health is such a important thing to consider, because a lot of times when you are basically, like you said, like wearing a mask for the whole time, it can be a lot that it will eventually kind of um break you in some way.
hmm
And I'm very glad to have you here with us.
Yeah. I'm same thing with you as well too. But yes. And like, hi Ziri, welcome in, honey, welcome in, hun. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And yes, Mentis, like I said, mental health is very important. And like, I even had this conversation a couple days ago where it was not just like talking about being Pride Month, but it's also Men's Mental Health Month as well too. And I think they're, talking about like sort of like that same kind of stigmatism of like how a lot of times men are pursued or perceived in a sense of, oh my gosh, thank you for the rainbow shirasu Ziri, thank you, love. I appreciate you so much, honey. Do you for one thing I've been doing here, a real quick tangent of that too. If you want Ziri as well too, I'm doing art. If you would like a sushi, I will draw you a sushi. Just send me references and stuff like that as well too, and I will draw you as one for the points as well too, love. But yeah, yeah. The I think that's like something else too that like when it comes to a lot of things as well. For a lot of things as well too. Like when it comes to, and I feel like it even like relates back to um with like Pride Month as well too, is like showing emotions and being um being there for each other and stuff as well too, because it's like like mental health is obviously like a very big thing that we need to be very aware of too. If you guys can always look into therapy, make sure you have someone you feel comfortable talking with as well too, to do certain things as well too, to help yourselves as well. That I think that's like one of the big things to always think about when it comes to those kind of things as well.
Yeah, it's like I guess like for me, I think that like for example, like I do think that like mental health is just like as important as like physical health, and
hmm
a lot
hmm
of times like I think being like a member from the LGBTQ plus community can be very like it's very interconnected with mental health because of being like a marginalized group in society and stuff like that.
hmm
So it's definitely something that there's like a lot of parallels to it. and I'm very fortunate in for point of like from my experience, even though I am not like completely out, but I am comfortable with that because there are certain situation like for me that it just like coming out would not be like possible, but I'm out to most people in my life, and obviously I did lose like a lot of people, but like I do feel like at the end it's worth it because I rather be surrounded by people who accept me other than like people who are, that I have to hide behind like this fake version of
Hmm.
me um to talk to them. And I also think that for what you said about like therapy and stuff like that, um I do want to say that for people who are seeking therapy, always remember that if you don't feel comfortable with your therapist, that is like completely alright. That if you want to switch to
Yes.
another therapist, because it's sometimes like it's not even about um the therapist being anything like doing anything like malicious, but sometimes it just you don't really vibe with someone, like even if it is just like in like a friend group and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's always good to kind of like explore it a little bit. So don't ever feel like you are like stuck with your therapist if it wasn't going great. Because it you definitely should be able to trust them.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Also, hi Amber, welcome in. Hi Takamura, welcome in. Hi, thank you both for joining in the stream today. I am joined by Jules. We are sitting here having a little sit down collab talk, interview as well too. Also, Card, to answer your question, sorry, but no, I appreciate you wanting to join in though. But this is sort of like a little talk between just myself and Jules right now though. But you can join in the conversation here in the conversation, or sorry, in the chat as well too. So if you, like I said, if you have any questions or anything like that you want to say or anything like that too, we will try to catch what we can and talk with you as well too. So no worries, but I do appreciate you being here and hanging and talking with us, and I'm glad you're enjoying what we're talking about as well too. But yeah, yeah, it's one of those kind of things that's like you were saying, like, with like losing certain people in our lives and stuff too. But it's like, and it's sad to have that happen, but I feel like the growth that we get from it, at the end of the day, is a bit better. And I said, we may have lost some people in our lives because of certain choices and things like that too. But again, like, you never know. There's always like a potential chance for growth. There's always like, a potential chance for change and stuff too. And even for some people too. Hi Fantasy, welcome in, love, welcome in. Thank you for joining the stream and thank you for the stars as well too. I only talk with female therapists. I don't feel comfortable with male therapists. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, Baps, how is being LGBTQ and HG and autism? I say I don't. I've never been diagnosed with autism. I may have some form of it for sure, but I've never actually been properly diagnosed. If I do have it, I don't know. I could potentially see parts of my aspect having parts of it too, but honestly, I'm not sure. Can we do points? Yes, Fantasy, you can do points today. Yes, you can do points today. Yeah, last night I didn't want to do points because I don't like, if I'm very emotional and I'm crying and stuff too, I don't feel like it's okay to ask for points and stuff too if I'm on stream crying. It feels bad. Congratulations, Fantasy.
Yay,
Congratulations,
congrats.
hon.
Yay.
Yay. Let's go. Badge up. Yay, Badgers. You have a t-shirt. Welcome into the Pooh Bear Club.
Yeah, I feel like for me it's also like I feel like if I didn't lose like some of the friends or like be kind of like more authentic about myself, I wouldn't have
Mhm.
led to like this path of me or like the path of life that I have right now. So sometimes even though it seems like it was like a huge loss for some people and it is like a very like painful experience that I don't wish it on anybody else, but sometimes like you have to cut those people off to let yourself to like a better path with people that love you and support you, you know. I don't think I would have ever been able to, or like comfortable enough to stream if I never had like lost those friends that I had back then.
Oh yeah. And it's like I think I may have talked about this once beforehand on stream. I don't remember if I talked about it or not. Um, but I did actually like one other person that I lost in my transition when I first started coming out. I lost basically somebody I considered my best friend for about like 12 years. Um, they had known I had confided in them prior to coming out, about like my feelings and stuff too. And they were like the one and only person that like I could be my authentic self at home. Like I could wear the clothes I felt comfortable with. I could do my makeup and stuff too. And they would come over. We would watch anime. I watched all of Game of Thrones with them as well. Watching like our big thing was that we would just like hang out, watch TV. We were really big. Like we would play Pokemon Go everywhere too. We even came up with like a silly little car game because we drove around with each other all the time. We literally had like we actually had a book that we started writing down all the rules and stuff too. Like it was this crazy thing where we had like about like I want to say I think by the end of it, we had about 75 different like calls. We had rules written up for how the game was played, different win conditions and stuff too. Like it was this like super elaborate game, but he was incredibly supportive of me. At least he was in the beginning, and stuff too. Um, with him, and whatnot and stuff too. But it was the I don't know exactly. And still to this day, I don't know what had changed. I honestly I don't know what had changed with him. But the moment that I came out and the moment that I started on HRT and started asking for people to use she her pronouns, he flipped and he got more quiet around me. He stopped showing up more often. He didn't want to do driving around. He wasn't comfortable doing any of that stuff anymore. And finally one day, when we were heading back, he was dropping me off back at my place. From we had this like little weekly board game group at my friend's house, and he was like, "Hey, we need to have a talk." And I was like, "Yo, what's going on? What's up?" He's like, "I just wanted to let you know this is the last time that we are going to be hanging out together." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I no longer feel comfortable being around you, as it feels inappropriate for me as somebody who is a Christian to be around you anymore," and this stuff too, which he had been Christian his whole life. I had known about this. He was not, private about it or anything too. Um, but he basically said to me that he was no longer comfortable with my transition. He was no longer comfortable. He didn't feel it was appropriate to use she her pronouns. He was not happy that I was on HRT like any of those things stuff. He thought I was hurting myself. He then tried to throw the Bible at me and said that I needed to stop this. I needed to start going with him to church. I needed to find God, that I was just confused and just like all this insane things just out of nowhere. And it was a huge shock, and it broke my heart. I ended up crying. I left when I left out of his car, and I when I got out of the car and I went up to my apartment, I remember actually just breaking down like right in front of my front door and just starting just crying in tears because I just didn't know what had happened. And then the next couple weeks for our board game group, I didn't show up. And I didn't tell anybody, I didn't say anything. And then it was like a little while later that I finally said, he was like, "Hey, what's going on with you and him? Like, like, is everything okay?" And I finally admitted what had happened, and our entire friend group pretty much just immediately cut him off. Like they were done with him. They cut him off out of everything. Basically, he became excommunicated, and he had sort of a crash out over the whole thing as well too. He thought it was unfair. The people weren't hearing his side of the story, and stuff as well too. He thought I was doing some sort of hate thing against him, and I even told all my friends as well too, like don't cut him off. Like he's just like something is going on. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know why this sudden change has happened to him, but please don't be angry with him. Please don't hate him. But obviously, I can't control what other people choose to do and stuff as well too. Um, but I remember during the whole thing, like after it all happened, I actually considered detransitioning. For a little while, like for a couple days, I actually considered stopping everything and going back because I thought maybe that I had done something wrong as well too. That I had that I was like maybe I was wrong and I had hurt somebody that I cared about, and so for a minute, like I legitimately thought about throwing away all of the HRT stuff that I had, canceling my Plume subscription, going back, to back to the way things were again too for a little while. But I eventually kind of got my head clear, and I talked with some friends and stuff too about it as well. And I realized that while that was not the right path because I was just going to take myself back down to a bad space again, that I didn't do any of that and I kept going forward, and I'm glad that I did. Um, but and like it was a very rough time. It was a very very rough time to have had that happen. But I even still, like, I still to this day, I know it's wild to say, but I still don't hate him. I still care about him, and I still hope for the best for him. But it's one of those kind of things that too, that it's like I feel like that bridge is kind of gone, and done as well too. For this as well too. Hi Adria, hi love, welcome in, honey. I'm sorry. We're talking about we're talking. I'm with Jules right now too. We're talking about Pride Month, our my transition as well too. Hi Ricky, welcome in, honey. It's nice to see you, hon. I was talking about how I lost my best friend of several years, about 12ish years. Honestly, I think it was longer than that too. That I knew him. But yeah, basically, yeah, we're just talking about like how things, but like with when it comes to transitioning, talking about like how, like, when we make that leap and stuff too, how we can lose friends and family and stuff too. But while we can lose friends and family over coming out and stuff too, we gain more. And how I've gained all of you guys, and I've gained more friends as well too. I have been able to, meet so many fantastic and wonderful people like Jules here that I'm talking with right now. So yeah, I'm doing a little sit down interview talking with Jules as well. Um, and talking about just our experiences and stuff too. And I've even said like this to a couple people too, because like where he justified his actions based off religious views and stuff too. Like I have nothing against anybody who I've still kept friends with those that are Christian, and anybody who identifies under any kind of religion stuff too, because like there are always going to be bad people regardless of what kind of space you find yourself into. But the moment that you like label one group as being bad and one group being good, that's where true evil can hide. Like there have been bad people that have been in the LGBTQ space as well too. There are people that are, horrible people that are themselves, in the religious community. There are bad people, in all sorts of things. Um, in all sorts of communities and stuff too. But the actions of one person doesn't define the actions of an entire group. It's more of like we need to be there as like a community to call out those bad people, as opposed to trying to defend their bad actions as well too. And I think that's just kind of like on us being almost more like kind of like a check of ourselves, as opposed to like trying to defend the actions of one bad person like that too, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I'm really sorry that that happened.
no, it's
It's
okay. It's
kind of
nothing for
like
you to apologize. It's just all
yeah,
part of the growth.
yeah. It's kind of like yeah. I'm not sure why he reacted that way, but he probably have. some other stuff that are going on. Because I feel like for me, it's also like I also have like experience like that where like I have been friends with someone for a really long time that were
Mhm.
very accepting of me, but as soon as I actually say out loud like what like how I identify that, they immediately like wanted to like cut me off and stuff like that. And also it was like they also like brought up like religion as like one of the reasons,
Mhm.
but they never had an issue with me before that. I It just very unfortunate that things like that happen, but yeah, um I try not to put it too hard even when it's very difficult to. It's just that I what I like to think oftentimes is that like I didn't do anything wrong, you know? So like whatever issues that they are dealing with that they have with me, it doesn't affect me. And
Mhm.
it's a shame that they can't accept me even though they have proven to be able to do that beforehand. Um it just, you know, um it just ultimately is their loss that they decided to do things that way.
Oh yeah. It's a shame when you have, and it's like I don't know what caused the sudden dramatic change in his attitude and why he went that, because like I said, I mean, he knew before I came out to a lot of people, and he was very comfortable and safe for like the longest time with everything that I was doing in my life as well too. He was very supportive, behind the scenes, but it was like just this random moment, like the moment that I started taking HRT, I started being more open and public about things as well too. It was just this weird tonal shift with him, and I never understood what it was that had happened with him and why he reacted the way he did, and I may never know. There's a very good chance that I may never know exactly why it happened, but I said, like, even regardless of anything that happened with the two at the time, yes, I was very mad, I was very upset, I was very hurt, but it was a small little thing that had happened, um, and instead of staying angry and hostile and mean towards something like that too, I think it's better to take the approach that where I would rather say, hey, I don't want to spread hate to someone like that. Instead, I'd rather, try to show love and, even forgiveness and stuff as well too. Welcome in, Tempest. Hi, love. It's so good to see you, honey. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for the stars, love. It goes back to the whole saying of an eye for the eye makes the whole world blind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's already enough hate in this world. There's already enough anger. There's already enough like things that go on here. So, as opposed to spending our time showing hate and showing negativity and being cruel to others as well too, um, it's better to instead try to show love. Even if you can't show love to those people, show love to those that are around you instead. Don't let those that have hurt you control you. Instead, it's okay to be hurt by some of those things though, but don't let that hurt control everything about you and your aspect too. Because I've had that happen plenty of times where I've had like let that hurt control me and let that anger control me too. It's something that I don't talk about ever on streams too, and people would be very, very shocked to hear that I have this issue. But I do actually have an anger management problem. I've just been very fortunate to have learned to control certain things. As a prime example, one of the things that I did because I got so irrationally angry, I punched a bookcase so hard I broke my wrist and my hands. Over something incredibly silly and ridiculous. Um, I have broken things and shattered things out of pure rage and anger over nothing that was so simple and silly. Looking back at it as well too, and it's just one of those kind of things that like over the years I have learned to breathe. I've learned to and let those kind of things go because it's while they upset me at the time, they are things that it's like there's certain things I have to accept that are out of my control.
Yeah.
And instead of letting that rage and anger take hold of me, and the only thoughts in my head is how can I hurt them more. Instead it's like what can I do to better myself so I don't get hurt like that again, because that was like for a while I was doing, and even like when it came to certain things like I was saying beforehand, before I found Irium and stuff too, like a lot of times like my thoughts were kind of like a, what can I do to, hurt the people who have hurt me. But I found instead, when I found Irium and this community and stuff too, and the space as well too, that it was no longer about like what can I do to hurt, but what can I do to help others, and what can I do to heal and be there to be a supportive person to others. And it's brought me a lot more joy and happiness in my life, as opposed to being somebody who wants to just go out there and cause pain and misery to others. Instead, I can bring some joy and happiness to others in this space as well too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that like loops back to like about pride and stuff like that too. Like what we do here during this month of like, during Pride Month and the LGBTQ space as well too. It's not that we come together to find a way to hurt those that have hurt us, but instead be here to support and heal and love each other as well too, to show love and acceptance as well too. And I think that's like the big thing that we need to always remind ourselves when it comes to Pride Month, and even after Pride Month as well too.
Yeah.
Even after the end of June, when we go into July as well too. Just because Pride Month is over, it doesn't mean that our journey stops. It doesn't mean that our we have to wait till next June um, for that to have to for us to pick ourselves back up again. We continue the progress forward. We continue everything going forward to help each other as well too. You know.
Yeah. I think it's very important for people to do feel validated of like how like their feelings are very validated when they are like hurt and rejected. But I do try to move on from that and focuses on myself, because I do know that like sometimes you just can't really change how people view, and things have happened, so I can't really change like the past. So I try my best to move on from it. And also
Mm-hmm.
I do think that for me it's also like kind of similar where uh I did like at a young age I was like very like rejected by like my peers because of my identity, that
Mm-hmm.
I find like I realize the more important thing for me is to um kind of like create a space where people can come to me when they are dealing with like the same like confusion about like figuring themselves out and stuff like that, instead of trying to think about how like I guess like how rejected I am and how angry I am towards those people. Because I think a thing that I tend to I always focus on is that I wanted to be that person that I wish that I had when I was younger. So I try to kind of like be there for people instead of
Mm-hmm.
allowing like very like negative feeling to affect me and how people like treated me.
Oh yeah. And it's like it kind of even like ties into like my own like lore and stuff too, like with my own character. Like obviously like I'm on here just like kind of playing a character. Like I always tell people that I'm a retired villain, but like my when I came up with this idea of like calling myself like a retired villain, it really was like the whole thought of that like like I said earlier, like a lot of my thoughts was just about like, you know, being angry and being hateful and stuff like that and trying to figure out how to hurt people, but instead moving past that and being supportive and loving and stuff too. And it's like I'm giving up that air of hate I'm giving up that time of like where I thought about like what can I do to hurt, and instead like what can I do to support as well too.
And I'm really proud of how you the person you become, Babs.
Yeah,
And I think
and
everyone
I'm
can say
proud
the
of you as well
same.
too, honey.
Thank
I
you.
think I honestly am proud of you as well too. And I know, like I said, I know it can be very tough as well too, especially when it comes to, as I said, like when it comes to like go to the those that are in like the sort of the non-binary thing. I feel like I know it's still one of those kind of things that it's still growing in the same space as well too, but I feel like it's one of those kind of things that never needs to does need to get overlooked as well too. Like you have people that transition from one to the other or identify as one or the other as well too. But people like yourself, people like Ziri that's in chat with us today as well too. And others that find themselves in the non-binary space as well too. They are also a part of our family and our community too, and they deserve just as much as well too of like the love and respect too, because it's just as much of a journey and just as much difficult for you, if not even harder, because gender, like we were saying earlier, like gender is basically a social construct.
Hmm.
And like when it comes to yours, when you tell people that you don't identify as female or male, you don't like using she her pronouns or he him pronouns, you prefer to go with the they them, and it can be very off. I would say, well, it can be very confusing to a lot of people because they just don't quite understand it, and it can be also very hard to explain to others, like why you feel that way too. It can almost feel like you're being like pressured into some sort of interview that you weren't ready to sit down to have, like having people grill you for those kind of questions too. So it can be very difficult for people like yourself to want to talk about those kind of things too, because you don't want to be felt like you're being put on the spot, and someone's going to try to twist your words as well too to try to attack you and your feelings as well too. And I think that can also be sort of the other side of it as well too. So and I said I'm proud of you for your journey, and I know it's not over with, and always know that you have a space here, with all of us here, in our little corner of the internet as well too. The same thing with you as well, Ziri, as well too, and anybody else in chat that finds themselves, when it comes to the non-binary, or like that identify themselves in that sort of space as well too. So it's definitely like that as well. Hmm.
Yeah. I think that for a lot of people who are non-binary, that I think especially for I noticed that is more apparent in AFAB non-binary people, that they have told me that they are not really sure how um they feel like they are leading like a kind of like a bad example as non-binary people, because they might present themselves more feminine and more like cisgender passing and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
like that is just not a thing. Like I always tell people that is not a thing, because you are never like a bad example, because that is just like who you are, you know? It's not like a thing that you
Exactly.
can like, it's not something that people can define. Like just because people might see you as a certain way, it doesn't mean that you are being like a somehow like having a wrong idea of how a non-binary are, because it's just not true. That is like something that how you feel. um it just like, no matter how like you look or like how you choose to present yourself, it doesn't make your experience or how you identify as like less valid.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like, just a bit because of just how you present yourself and stuff like that too, doesn't always necessarily, for those that are like, I feel like for especially for like the non-binary people that, like try to be like, there's no real obviously like when it comes to certain things, like when it becomes like what's more feminine, what's more masculine, I feel like there is going to be that kind of like standard of like how we should present ourselves and stuff too though. But when it comes to those that are, under the non-binary, it's like some people present themselves one way, some people present themselves another way, and stuff like that too. But like, there's no wrong way, depending on how you choose to be and how, you feel and stuff as well too. Like I know, I was talking to when I was in Ziri's. I think no, I think maybe Ziri was in mine or I was in Ziri's. I don't know. We got on the topic of Ziri's like non-binary and stuff too, but they were talking about their whimsicalness of like wearing dresses and stuff like that too. But it's like yeah, well like you see a lot of people. It's like oh well, if you're gonna wear a dress, then it's like clearly you identify more as being female. And I was like well no, not really because clothing doesn't really represent in that same way. Same thing with like makeup and stuff too as well too.
Yeah.
There are plenty of men that wear makeup. There's plenty of people that wear that kind of stuff too. But those are just that at the end of the day, that's just articles of clothing, but they don't define who you are. And I feel like that is just something that we as a society, I feel like it's just more of like a sense of like how we as a society have viewed things, and it's something that we need to kind of be better about ourselves as well too, when it comes to like how we may see something but doesn't always mean that we immediately assume certain things about someone, and how they identify and stuff as well too. I was actually in a debut yesterday as well too, and it was during someone who had been on here for a little bit. Their name was Dr. Remus, and I was in their debut, supporting them and stuff too, and Elfington had joined in to also support and cheer them on as well too. And they, just kind of hanging out with them for a little while, but eventually Elfington had to leave out. Eventually I did as well too, and then later on that night I popped into Elfington's stream, and was talking to them, and he was like, "Oh, she had a fantastic debut. She was super wonderful." And then he caught himself. He's like, "Wait a minute, hold on." I realized that it's like during the he's like, "I don't think I ever got her pronouns or got their pronouns," and he was like, "I should do better about that kind of stuff too. Just because someone like looks a certain way and sounds a certain way doesn't always mean." Now, I did find out that because I had asked what their pronouns were, that they went by she her, but it was just that sort of like kind of thought of like just because someone presents a certain way doesn't always mean for a fact that like certain aspects of them as well too are that too. Certain things about people's biological traits and stuff as well too you know um don't always represent how they exactly feel and stuff as well too. And it's just one of those kind of things that we as a society need to kind of break away from some of those kind of like stigmas and thoughts too. But it's kind of like that sort of like deep programming that I think that a
Yeah.
lot of us kind of have as well too. And I mean, going back to when I was like very early on when we started this whole thing, um and talking about religion too and stuff too, I had said like I was raised under Seventh Day Adventist, and they within the church there is some deep programming that they have that they put you under, and even still some of it affects me to this day. Even though I'm not part of the religion, I'm not part of that group or something like that. There are still weird aspects that like still to this day, um, I find myself every so often catching myself, and I'm just like why do I think that? Like, why can't I break this kind of thing too? And it's just like slowly over time, it's been one of those kind of things that I've been able to kind of break away. Um, the main one that I still like for some weird reason, like I still occasionally struggle with, and it's so silly with as well too, is because Seventh Day Adventists are very much against pork.
Mhm.
They see pork as being something that you do not consume. They find it like you don't interact with it, you don't touch it, you don't do anything with it too. And so like raised and stuff like that too, like pork was seen as something that was just very much a huge no no, as well too. And even still to this day, like there are times where I will at my own job and stuff like that too, that I will have to do stuff when it comes to pork and stuff like that too. And like there's like this little itch in the back of my head that tells me it's like, oh, you're touching something bad. I'm like, well, not really, like same thing when it comes to, when we see certain aspects in people and stuff too. It's like just because we see them present this way too, doesn't always define like who they are as a person. Like yourself as well too, like we were talking about earlier with you, like how, certain, aspects of your life too, because I know like we were talking about makeup and stuff as well too at one point in time,
Yeah.
not during this, but we were like in a previous time too, because we were sharing like, some makeup looks that we've done as well too. Um, but like for you that find themselves more towards like the non-binary sense too, but like it can be difficult for someone like yourself because it's like, yeah, you like to have like to do that because you said you did it for Pride Month before and stuff too, and people will just see that stuff, and it can be difficult to explain to those, and it's like, oh well, I'm actually not, I don't do she her, I do they them, just because I wear and I dress like this as well too.
Yeah, I think it's a like a learning process to unlearn some aspect of
Hmm. Hmm.
yourself, and also I do think that like a lot of people also bringing up that like gender expression is just like a whole different thing than gender. Like have
Oh yeah.
I met so many trans men who love wearing dresses, and I like nobody would ever like tell them that they are like a woman. It just
Hmm.
that like at the end of the day, like clothes and like makeup and stuff like that do not actually have a gender. It just that society and like our environment have told us that like this is like traditionally represented in like a certain group of people and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy these things just because you identify as like a certain way and stuff like that. And and yeah, I feel like I also have the same thing with you where um because I did the church that you went to, did they I think
Hmm.
they follow a lot of like kind of align with like the kosher like dietarian restriction.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There was
because
yeah, there was a lot of dietary restrictions.
yeah, because I actually used to there was a point of my life that I was working towards converting to Judaism. So I do I also relate to that where sometimes when I eat pork and stuff like that I'm like, ooh, I'm being a very bad person right now. But it's not true. It's just something that we kind of, grew up with and have to
Hmm.
unlearn it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, like um, seafood was another big thing that you weren't allowed to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was no, like you couldn't have lobster or crab or anything like that at all too. It was seen as unclean.
Yeah.
There was oh, the big thing as well too, that I had to do was that from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday, that was seen as the Sabbath
Oh yeah.
for Adventists. And so from that entire time, the I was not allowed to watch TV. I was not allowed to play video games. I was not allowed to do anything that was basically the only things I was allowed to do was like the only kind of TV that I was allowed to watch was anything that was religious based or something like that too. Like I could watch the oh, what was it, I'm trying to think of what that movie I've seen. You would think I would be able to remember it like right off the top of my head because of how many times I watched it.
Yeah.
But it was the Charlton Heston movie where he was playing as Moses. Ten Commandments. It was or not
Oh yeah.
not Moses,
I
but
have watched
yeah.
it as well.
Or yeah, yeah. I think it was Moses. Where yeah, he played like the Ten Commandments. It was Ben Hur and things like that too. Like those are the only ones that I was like allowed to watch. I could only read the Bible that day. So just like I was a lot of things I just wasn't allowed to do until that too. Even like when I lived at home, I wasn't allowed to work. When I was living at home, like if I had a job and stuff too, I wasn't allowed to. I had to tell my employers that I was not available to work from Sunset Friday to Sunset Saturdays, specifically because of my religious views and stuff too. Even though at that point in time, like I had not really gone to church anymore, I wasn't really a part of the church anymore at that point in time. Um, because my family was, and my family was very much still very much into it. I mean, my grandfather was an elder.
Yeah.
My mother and my dad were very much into the church as well too, with a lot of things as well. We would go to church regularly on Saturdays, which was our the whole big thing as well too, because a lot of it like was also very into the Judaism kind of like sect of it as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But they have like some very said very very extremes as well too, because like with Seventh Day Adventists as well too, they have a very young Earth creationist kind of like outlook to the world as well too. So a lot of the times when it came to anything that was based in science and stuff too, they would be very much hostile too. So it was very, very difficult to have any kind of like conversations about that too. And if you didn't follow along with certain things too, they could get you in trouble. There was multiple times when I would be at church and I would start questioning certain things, and my parents would have to pull me to the side and be like, "Hey, stop being disruptive." And I was like, I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. I was just like asking a question, kind of thing as well too. And it was just kind of interesting aspect for that too. But yeah, but it's like again, it's like part of that programming that you had to like kind of like break away from with certain things as well too, because even like still like for like the longest time, even after I left and I was like not even living at home with my parents anymore, certain things as well too, it was it's just been like a this like kind of like breaking away from I mean, but it's hard because like when you're raised that way for years and years and years, even like with like my views like on like growing up like in like my small town that I lived in when I went to high school and stuff too. I grew up in a very very small conservative town. um like my graduating class was only a couple hundred people. Like it was like I think like literally my graduating class was maybe like 250 people. You knew everybody that was in your graduating class, you knew everybody in the graduating class above you, below you, and even sometimes higher and lower than that too, because it was just such a small area. And certain things like that too, like if you ever came out, I remember a couple different times that it's like in school and stuff too, like it was just like open season against anybody who was who had any kind of like any kind of inclination of like anything like that too, that they were um part of like the LGBT community. But back then, like you didn't really like they didn't call it that. Like they would just use slurs all the time,
Yeah.
like bad things like that too as well too. And even like that was like something that I had to kind of break away myself too, because I got so used to using certain things like that that now I didn't even like view as slurs, like certain things like that too, like certain words and phrases. I was just like didn't even realize that like what I was saying was like something that was bad. Um, because it was just such a common thing to say, like where I was from. It wasn't uncommon to for people to use the F word, not the FU word, but the FA word,
Yeah.
as so like how you describe certain people as well. The same thing with like the R slur for those that had certain mental disabilities and stuff like that too, and things like that too. But it's like, it was like for the longest time when people like out once I left out of there too, like people would be like, I can't believe you would say that kind of thing, and I was just like, what do you mean? Like that's just like another word. That's what you called them. That's what you said. That's how you referred to them, and I just never viewed it that way until I started kind of getting out of like that sort of small town mentality. To kind of realize like one of the things that's like, oh hey wait, that's not acceptable too. And I feel like that's like why it can be so hard for a lot of people when it comes to like our transitions and us talking about us being in the LGBT community, is because like of that small town mindset, that people haven't had enough exposure to it, or they've had maybe even like the wrong exposure. Um, because even like what I was saying beforehand too, like some people like just because some people may identify under that sort of like that aspect of it doesn't always mean that that defines the entire group as well too. I may have had a bad experience with somebody who was religious in some way, but like I know that's not all people that are religious. I even had like a sit down conversation a while ago back with somebody here on Irium who is openly Christian and stuff as well too, and we had an absolutely fantastic time. Now, granted, we didn't really talk too much when it came to those kind of things as well too. We just kind of had like a fun conversation talking about all sorts of things as well too. And there was even another streamer a while ago back that was like they wanted to talk about those kind of things on stream, but they were nervous about it because they didn't know how people would perceive about it too. And I encouraged them to basically like, hey, like I think there's nothing wrong with you having basically a Bible studies kind of like, stream here on Irium. I think everybody in here is such like wonderful and fantastic people too. Everyone's very supportive, and I understand like there's like that sort of like negative connotation, but like I feel like we should always be, you know, accepting of all and accepting of everybody on here, regardless of any kind of stuff like that too. So, but we just need to kind of like take away like the big takeaway is that we need to, be willing to accept that like what we may have thought in the past may have been something right. It was actually something wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have had, the wrong ideas about certain things, and the best way for us to grow is to accept those and grow from there as well. Be like, hey, I may have thought this way at one point in time in my life, but that's not the right what that doesn't mean that it was, the right way to have thought about certain things as well too. You know, um it's all part of that process of like breaking down the barriers, breaking the molds down stuff too as well too.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. A lot of like I think also it's like sometimes for a lot of people if they grew up with like a certain mindset and stuff like that, other than like unlearning a lot of things, it is very difficult to kind of like, because for them like it feels like their will have just been like flipped around and stuff like that. It's
Hmm.
like pretty difficult to handle and stuff like that, because I think for me, I am fortunate enough that even though I grew up in like a conservative area, but people usually I would say people are still more accepting, but there might be a lot of bias and a lot of like there not really any laws to protect you, but people are on like the more open minded side in that region. Um,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
still, it can be very difficult for people to come out and stuff like that. It's just that I think it's very important for people to remember that when you for example, have done things like you have said things that you were ashamed of, or like you have used slur before because of how you grew up. It's just important for you to learn from it and understand that like although like you have done that before, it's not what defines you, and um learning from it is very important. It's just that
Hmm.
unfortunately some of us have grew up in certain community where it is very normalized.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's one of those like things to think about as well too. Also, congratulations, Siri. Thank you for the badge of love. Thank you. And hi, Rory. Welcome in, honey, for the first time. Oh no, sorry, the
Hello.
first time. Oh, you've been here. Well, hello. Yay. Welcome in. And I appreciate the compliment. I hope I'm saying your right name. Len Telja. Len, I don't know how to say it correctly over on your stream. I'm sorry. I've also tried to watch your chat on the Twitch side as well
It's
too.
okay.
But I
People are
appreciate
lurking,
the yeah. But I appreciate the compliment, hun. Thank you very much, Len. But yeah, I came one time asking for relationship. Oh, okay. Welcome in, honey. Welcome in. I'm glad to see you stop back in again, love. Mm-mm. But yeah, I think like as like a weird like example of it that I can give in this sort of sense too is like, somebody like from like a small like sect and group and stuff too. Like be like a small town that's like where they've always thought that it's like, you know, within their little small section that they thought they think that it's like, oh, you can only have a cheeseburger with American cheese, lettuce, tomato, and onions, but then you leave outside there and it's like, oh wait, you can have different cheeses. You don't always have to have it with this stuff in here, and you can even have like a pickle or something like that too. But it's like you go this whole entire time that it's like, oh, it's like this is the way you have to do, this is the way you can have it, and not realizing that there are so many different aspects of like what you can do too, with those things as well too. So it's like I think that's like the thing, but it's like it can be hard because like you go for so many years. And I know like the there's always that saying, it's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I feel like that's a really poor way to justify um certain things and certain aspects of people,
Yeah.
of how they want to view. It's like it's almost sort of like a justifying their bad behavior, because I have seen plenty of people who are much older, who have been able to grow and who have been able to change, and have been able to see that it's like, oh, this mindset that I had was incorrect, that, oh wait, this thing that I had thought of was not correct, and it's like I can change from there and I can grow. And it doesn't always have to be like, I mean, some of it can be, a small change here and there. Like even with my own parents, like, my parents, they have been trying their best to use the correct pronouns as well too. Hi Okashi, welcome in, love. Thank you so much for joining the stream, and thank you for the stars, love. Thank you, hun. It's good to see you. I'm joined by Jules. We're having a little pride talk right now, talking about transition and stuff as well too. But yeah, welcome in, sweetheart. It's so wonderful to see you here. Um, but yes, I think it's just like that sort of like, like I said, with my parents. My dad is specifically is very like, it's very hard for him. Um, for I can definitely tell it's like it's been very difficult for him. Not that he doesn't want to try, that he's not trying, because he will refer to me still as his son every so often. But then he'll catch himself afterwards. He's like, "Wait, no, sorry, that's my daughter. I apologize," and he'll apologize to me, afterwards as well too. But it's like, I mean, my parents have known me, since, obviously since I was born, and whatnot too, and they raised me, male and everything as well too, and to sort of like have this kind of thing happen, like, finally come out to them too. And I will say, my coming out to my parents was kind of an interesting experience. I was
Mm-hmm.
incredibly scared and I was incredibly nervous about about coming out to them and talking to them, but it was probably the most wildest thing ever, with everything, cuz at the time I had already started kind of my transition. Thank you for the heart, Okashi. Mwah, thank you so much, love. Um, I was incredibly nervous. I was so very terrified. That I wanted to wait till, so I went down to visit my parents for Christmas, and I was down there hanging out with them. We were going through the whole thing, and like I had said, like to them, that I was like, "Hey, I want to have a talk with you guys about something serious," and they're like, "Okay, well, what is it?" And I was like, well, let's wait a couple days. I just want to spend some time with you guys for a little bit, because I was honestly convinced that this was going to be the last time that I was going to see my parents, because I didn't know how they were going to react to everything as well. So I was like, I'm going to wait till literally like the day before I leave back home to have this conversation with them, because I just wasn't sure how they were going to react, with everything as well too. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till literally the day before that I have to leave, so that way I just have my flight ready to go. If I have to leave, if there's a fight or something like that too, I can just go to the airport and I can stay there for the night until my flight leaves the next day. If something bad happens or something like that too. And so I sat them down and I was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you guys about something that I've been struggling with for a long time, because full transparency as well too. Full transparency of something that had led up to this whole entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I was in such a bad mental state that I attempted to exit the world.
Mm-hmm.
I had attempted to basically um, clock out of life, and it was such a shock for my family to find out that I had done that. They had no idea that I was struggling like that as well too. Sorry, and so they didn't understand what had happened. They didn't understand why I did it. They didn't know what was going on. They were scared. They were worried. They were upset. I was basically in a hospital for a little while. Um, and they were upset. They wanted to know what was going on. They were scared. They were just they just wanted to know what was happening. And when I finally got out and I was feeling better about things like that too, but I still was scared to talk to them, and others as well too. That like I finally was like, I need to tell people. I need to talk to my parents about this because I knew that if I didn't say something sooner or later, that like even though like I survived this time, was there a chance that I was going to be successful the next time? Like, was there going to be a chance that I was going to finally, like, fully make sure that, like, there was no way, like, what had happened? I'm not going to go into what I did. I'm not going to really
Yeah.
go into what exactly had happened, and what I was trying to do. But I just, it was one of those kind of things that thankfully enough, I failed. Um, Thankfully enough, I didn't I failed, and I'm still here obviously with everybody today. But I could just tell like how scared and upset they were and worried about me and stuff too. But I again was scared to talk to them about it, so I wanted to kind of say like I wanted to talk with them and stuff too. So, but I waited till the very last day before I had to leave, and I was like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about this. I want to talk to you about my feelings, and I just kind of opened up. I explained to them that I was unhappy with like how I was born. I was unhappy with how I saw myself. I had a lot of self doubt and a lot of self negative thought. To the point that I just was no longer happy with the body that I was in, with everything that was going on, and I explained everything to them. And my parents were incredibly accepting of it too. But then, like, after the whole thing was done, my mom asked me, "It's like, okay, so what do you want to do for dinner?" And it was just one of those kind of things that was just so shocking that I was just like I wasn't ready, that I was like I didn't know what my parents were going to say next because of after everything was done. My mom was just like, wow, I'm so glad you were really like willing to talk about that. Anyways, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? And I was like, really, like that was it? And it was like, oh yeah, it's like, well, we still love you, like we're still happy for you and everything like that too and whatnot too. And my dad was just like, oh yeah, like they were just like so happy about everything too, but I was just prepared for the worst. And my family was just like my mom was, just like, oh, I'm just like, we're just happy that you're still here. We're happy that you're okay. We're happy you're safe. We were so worried about stuff like that too. It's like if this was all it was, it's like, I wish you had came to us sooner to talk to us about this, and we didn't want you to see you suffering and being upset with them and stuff like that as well too. So it's like, and then yeah, I think we ended up getting Chinese later that night and sitting down and watching a movie or something like that too. And then after that, I went home and I cried for a little while, but it was very happy tears because it was one of those things that I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I thought it was going to be my last time ever seeing my mom and dad again because I didn't think they were going to be accepting of it. I thought it was going to be the final time that I ever talked with anything, but no. And like I said, my mom has definitely been a lot better than my dad. My dad, like I said, he still struggles every so often, but he tries his best. I know he tries his best with it as well too, and he does what he can. um and the moment he realizes, he catches himself when he uses, calls me his son still and uses he him instead of she her, he will stop and like pause for a second and he'll apologize as well too, for certain things too. I think probably one of the funniest was, I don't say funniest was, but like one of the more like you could definitely see there was an eyebrow raise from somebody, was at my grandfather's funeral. As I was, in a dress, I had my makeup and stuff done, and everything like that too. and he introduced me to somebody as his oldest son, and then like as soon as he said that, he was like, "Wait, no, I meant daughter," and stuff too. And you can just see or sort of see like the eyebrow raise from the person that he was talking to,
Yeah.
kind of thing like that too. And they just kind of like we just kind of moved on from it and whatnot. But yeah, it was I say like he tries, but yeah, I mean, and I know that I'm like very unique with my experience because I know that's not with everybody's family as well too. Because I have known, unfortunately, I've known some people whose family has not been that way, whose family has been the exact opposite, who have thrown their children out because of it, and it's very scary to have that kind of thing happen. It's to have those kind of things too, which is why it leads to a lot of people being very worried about that stuff too. It's like, they can, your family can be very loving and accepting in one way, but it's like the moment that something like this happens, it can be very worrying. And this was after, or this was before my own friend, my one that I was talking about before, he cut me off. So like I was still kind of like, struggling with a couple things and stuff as well too. But like I still had him and I still had a couple other people that I like considered friends and stuff too. um, so it was just a very very interesting time, and again, I was just very trying to navigate this sort of space as well. But I'm very, very fortunate, like I said, with my family in some sense. Like I said, what I was talking about earlier, then unfortunately I do have a brother who was not the most supportive. But, thankfully enough, my sister has been, my mom has been, my dad has been, as well too, and even some of my cousins and aunts and uncles as well too. Not every single one of them. I come from a very, very big family where for those of you who've ever seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding,
Mm-hmm.
kind of have very similar large size family. Like family gatherings were typically massive,
Yeah.
and you had cousins, second cousins, distant relatives from out of state coming in and stuff like that too. So there was very wide family kind of thing too, and a lot of social circles and stuff too. So it was but thankfully enough, with the ones that I still kept in contact with as well too, and even some that I wish I had said something earlier, that I wish that are no longer here with us anymore too. I wish I had said something to a lot of them. As well too, which is like I tried to tell like people, like even in my own streams as well too. We had this kind of conversation, like, like let like don't be afraid to say how you feel and stuff like that too, and also express certain things too, because there can become a time where instead of like worrying about like saying like telling your friends and family that you love them, that you're proud of them, you're gonna end up being, there's a good chance that if you don't get a chance to say it to them, then you could regret saying it, that you never said it before, as well too. So I think that's like something else as well too, to think about, with how like how certain things come to it. It's like, would you rather go through the experience of like saying like, yeah, I like, this is how I feel about this sort of thing, like, or telling your friends, as opposed to like living with regret of never trying or never saying those kind of things as well too. I think that's one of the kind of things that I always think about when it comes to that, which is again why kind of like motivated me to even say anything to my family, with as well too, like even saying something to my family too, because I could have just like, I could have lied again. I could have said like, oh, I was just dealing with something else at the time, and like I could have made up some sort of like reason why I did what I did, as opposed to being honest with them. But I knew that I couldn't keep, living that way. I couldn't keep like, like I said earlier, I couldn't keep wearing the mask, as
Yeah.
it were, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad
It
that
it, it, it
it went well. Like it's like yeah, unfortunately there are people that don't accept you, but I'm very glad that a lot of the important people in your family support you. And even though it's like a learning journey for them, it's just it's still like a very big step, you know. And I'm very proud of
mm,
you, you know. And I feel like
thank you, hon.
I also have like I guess like for me it's like a little bit more complicated for like my family because I relate to you a lot with like I have like a very big family, but I never had like a I always like kept myself like at a distance with them since I knew like who I was at like a really young age and stuff like that. So I always have like, even though they are my family, and they might perceive us having like a really, like maybe like a positive relationship, but I wouldn't describe that at all. But I had like my coming out experience with my family. I remember vividly one of the,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the story that I didn't tell was that I told um someone in my family that like I don't like man. I think that's what I said. Because they didn't really, I don't really have the vocabulary to tell them because I wasn't speaking in English when I was coming out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I when I told them, they thought that I was joking. And also I don't know why I did this. I had like an eye infection while I was coming out, so one of my eyes were completely closed, like I couldn't open them. And I came up to them while my eyes are like watering from an eye
Mm-hmm.
infection and couldn't keep my eyes open, and I told them um while they were not like, I wouldn't say they were very accepting, but they, like for them it's just like fortunately enough they think of it as like a, you know, um he can't really change me, but like, and it's a part
Mm-hmm.
of me that like he will have to like kind of like understand that I can't really change that. But um although like that is a thing, but I can tell that there were times when because I have hide like my dating history with to my family for like a really long time, and I remember one time
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned like the first girlfriend that I ever had, and like other times that I have dated people. And because I think that it's like a weird situation where like, because the family member is a man, so he was weirdly kind of like impressed that I was like dating these people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, even though it was like a kind of weird situation where he didn't really completely accept me, but he was like, "Wow, that's good for you," stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like, even though sometimes coming out doesn't really go the way that we expected, because I my family basically like don't really talk about it, but it is
Mm-hmm.
like a known thing for people in my family. um it's still like, you know, the important thing is that you are able to not hide that part of yourself to your family, because it is very exhausting. And I'm definitely like more privileged to a point that I can like even come out to my family, while people in
Mm-hmm.
my, I would say like culture background usually are unable to do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, hi Tori, hi Yagi, welcome in, honeys. It's so good to see you all here. I'm currently joined by Jules right now. We are doing a little sit down kind of talk about our experiences with Pride and our transitioning and stuff as well too. It's been a while, Yagi. I hope you've been good, honey. I've missed you. I hope everything's been well for you, love. Mm-mm.
Away.
And Hawaii, Aoife as well, honey. Good morning, sweetheart. I hope you're doing well today, love. It's good to see you here, sweetie. But yeah, but no, and it's like I know, like it's like kind of like going back to as well, like we were talking about like cultural things too. Like it is with like I think like some people like don't realize that like wow things can be very tough like here in the US as well too. It can be even tougher outside of the US too. Like I was actually talking to Ventus the other day because I was in his streams the other day because we were talking about like moving to Japan, living in Japan
Mm,
and stuff too as well because like I actually had thoughts of like at one point in time that I really wanted to um, I really wanted to move to Japan. I wanted to live there. I thought it would have been a fantastic time for me and stuff like that too. But the more that I looked into it, like it's not the most accepting of the LGBTQ space as well too.
yeah.
They are getting progressively better, but a lot of, spaces in like the in Asian culture and stuff like that too are not as progressive as a lot of people would like to think that they are. I think when it comes to certain things about like how our exposure to things as well too, like we see things, we're like, oh yeah, like they obviously like they had to be so accepting, they had to be so loving about that. It's like, well, that's just like one aspect of the culture, but when it comes to certain other aspects of it, like this one thing, like we get our a lot of our exposure due to anime and certain things like that too, when it comes to it, but that's like only a small section of the whole, and it's not always exactly representative
Yeah.
of things as it as well too. I think it was when I was talking to Ventus as well too. Hi Nightwolf, welcome in, honey. It's so good to see you, love. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, sweetheart. But I think what it is, it's like especially too, like even with the what I've seen about like the Japan culture as well too is that they are very like what Ventus has said, they get very like xenophobic
Hmm.
and don't really accept a lot of foreigners into their space as well too. So it's like while the tourist industry, is definitely one of those kind of things that they very much favor. I do know that it is completely acceptable in Japan to basically have certain areas and spaces and stuff too that will not allow European or English people to
Yeah.
even enter. Like there are restaurants that specifically say on the front that it's like if you are not a Japanese born citizen, you are not allowed to enter. You are not allowed to be there whatsoever. And things like that too. And part of it has been because of tourism that have been kind of destroying some of the images of people outside. But there's also sort of like that sort of like cultural purity that they don't
Yeah.
want to see others, like, people outside of their space as well too. Infecting, well, I say infect was not the word, but like get into there as well too. Nightwolf, thank you for the Suki. Thank you so much, love. Thank you so much, honey. Oh my gosh, wow, Nigel, thank you for the second
Yay.
sweet. Congratulations. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you, love. If you want to as well too, love, I'm doing a thing as well too. If you would like, I will draw you as a sushi for the points as well too. Just send me references or anything like that as well if you would like to have a sushi drawn. Yay. But thank you, sweetie. Thank you for your support. But yeah, yeah, unfortunately, as an American, I don't think Americans realize how genuinely entitled we act occasionally. We know things, oh, 100%, and that's like the thing that like upsets me the most. Like, it's like, I would love to, like I said, I had thoughts that it's like, oh, I would want to get out of here. I want to get out of the States. I want to go somewhere better. I'll move to Japan. Like, it's so fantastic. It's so wonderful. It's like, I mean, like, and like I said, like Japan, like every like place has their benefits, but they also have their sort of like negativities and stuff
Yeah.
too. When it comes to a lot of things as well too. Like especially for those that are in the trans community as well too. Like we have made a lot of good forward progress here in the United States when it comes to trans people, but outside of the United States though, it's kind of a different story. Of like how things are viewed, in Europe and in Central and even parts of Western Asia as well too, or Eastern Asia, I should say. As well too. So it's like like we can think that like how life is here doesn't always mean to doesn't always translate in the sense of like outside of the culture as well too. Trying to help you. I appreciate it as well too, Nightwolf. Thank you so much, love. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate you guys trying to help me out with the event too. But thank you so much, loves. But yeah, it's if you want an interesting middle ground, Hawaii is great. I've heard mixed things about Hawaii as well too when it comes to certain things too, because of how tourism has also kind of like ruined a lot of like the culture and like how not culture but like the image too because like Hawaii like doesn't really like to view themselves, like even though they are part of the United States, they don't like to think of themselves. They still like to think of themselves as like independent, um,
Mm-hmm.
in some sense as well too. But yeah, I say Europe tends to be more on the other, the softer side as well, easier to be free, but it's basically the same as America in the sense of protections. Oh yeah, 100%. And it's like we were talking about it earlier, like how there's some like sense of like a rollback in some ways, but you know, even if there's like a like we we may take like a few steps forward and maybe take one step back, but that doesn't mean we go back too far that we can't keep progressing forward. And you know, even like what you were saying, Jules, beforehand, like with how you've had to kind of like hide like some of your dating history and stuff as well too, with those like some of your family and stuff as well too, because like some of that stuff's not protected, um, for yourself too. It can be very scary to talk about that with people. You know how you were saying like how your relative thought they were just basically joking with you, or that you were joking, with those kind of things too. But it's like, no, you were, very serious about your feelings and stuff as well too. Um, but it's like it can be very difficult because we don't want people to see us like, when we're trying to be honest and true about everything like that too, and just think that we're just, that it's like a joke, that it's like, it's not something very serious as well too. Um, with certain things too. So it can be very tough. It can be very tough.
Yeah, I think
But
that for a lot of people, like you said about like Asia and stuff like that, a lot of times people don't realize that I think in general there are a lot of places where they are getting more progressive, but there are a lot of hidden like microaggression towards people from
mm-hmm,
the LGBTQ plus community, as well as like a lot of time it just like very unfortunate that there are times that a lot of places in Asia like because politics have not like protected like their rights and stuff like that. So even
mm-hmm,
though there are
mm-hmm,
some countries that are extremely progressive, like in terms of like people who are living there, but the government might not view it the same way, or there are times where it is opposite, where even though they are more protected than other countries, but like the people are pretty like homophobic and transphobic and stuff like that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It just that I think for a lot of people, like when they think about moving, because I don't know that a lot of people have been thinking about that. It's something that you have to remember that like um living there isn't like the same as traveling there. Like a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
when you travel to a place, while it you can have a really good experience, but like the like actually living there can be very different. People, I think people really have to remember that, because I know a lot of people who, um, especially with the topic of Japan, that have went to Japan and like actually stayed there for a little bit and kind of feel
Mm-hmm.
like they like the perception of like the place they have completely changed it in a negative way. And I think that a lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
need to um really do research before they make like a really big decision, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. I say I was Yaki said something. I think the entirety of the world is unsafe for any group, LGBTQ or not safe in the same way. There are bad people everywhere, and at least some places and some spots are trying. For sure, Yagi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like what you were saying too, Jules as well too. I think what ends up happening is we sort of like get a fantasized version of something. Like we basically have sort of like a misconception of certain things as well too, of like how we perceive this place is going to be. But then when we actually get there, we find that it's not what we thought it was going to be. We thought we basically heard a fairy tale
Yeah.
version of a place, and it wasn't until we got there that we realized that it wasn't the fairy tale that we thought it was going to be. And it can still be a struggle, but that doesn't mean that things can't change as well too. It definitely is something like that too. Actually, as like a really good like weird example that I can give as well too. Hi Lee, welcome in for the first time, honey. My name is Baps, and I'm your US's retired villain and Cybernetic Bunny. Then I'm joined by Jules. We are doing a fun little talk, sit down talk, talking about Pride Month, our transitions and stuff too as well too. So feel free to hang out, lurk if you would like to, if you join in the conversation as well too. But yes, thank you for stopping in, love, and I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic time here on Irium, sweetheart. But no, as like I don't know why, but it just kind of like popped in my head like this sort of like odd comparison to as well too. Also, thank you for the follow, Lee. You are now part of the family. In here in the family, we look after each other, love. Um I don't know. It sounds like a kind of like a weird sort of like kind of like comparison though. But so the other day on in Discord we watched for movie night. Hi Wolf Rider, welcome in, sweetheart, welcome in. Thank you for joining the stream and thank you for the stars. We watched a movie called Cats Don't Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And it is basically about this person who lived in a small town, and had dreams of Hollywood and Hollywood success and stuff like that too. And so he packed up everything, moved there, and when he got there, he found out that all his dreams, like his thoughts of like how Hollywood um, was not at all what he thought it was. And I think that's like sometimes what we end up happening. Like we see certain things, um, we see certain things and aspects and stuff like that too of like a place and we think, oh, it's so wonderful, it's so perfect there, like it's so accepting, it's so happy and so cheerful and stuff like that too. And it's like, I think we're only seeing a small fraction of what it is. And it's like even like when you said like people going on vacation, like when you go on vacation, like there's like small places you're going to, like you're not working a 9 to 5 while you're there too. You're not paying like certain rents and bills. You're not having to deal with a manager and a boss kind of thing like that too. Like you're there relaxing, seeing sightseeing and stuff too. And so it can be very very tough. And sort of like I'm trying to think of the right word for it. A veil over what can be actually there as well too. So it's like but once the veil is lifted and you kind of see beyond that as well too, you can kind of see it's like, oh, maybe this wasn't as bright and wonderful as we thought that it was for sure. So it's like I think that's one of the kind of things that we need to like also um, accept that not every place that we think of is perfect and wonderful is going to be perfect and wonderful too. Um, but it doesn't mean that things can't change and improve either. It's like you was saying beforehand as well too, like what Agi was saying, or Yagi was saying, and even like prior to others as well too, like what Ventus was saying too. It's like I just want to see people be happy, live their lives comfortably, know what's possible, and gonna be well beyond the years. Maybe I'm naive, but just genuinely want people, and I do think that we will eventually get to there as well too. I do honestly believe that we will get there. And even if we may not see it in our lifetime, that doesn't mean that we should give up trying because it's not always just about what we do for ourselves, but what we can do for the future generation and those that come after this as well too. While our lives we may be in the fight continuously every single day to try to continue pushing forward, even if the fight feels like it's never ending and we may never see the day, it just doesn't that doesn't mean that we need to give up and stop trying as well too, because look back at those that came before us, like I was saying like previously, like in the earlier in the stream, talking about how certain rights and stuff like that too, like how things have gone progressed over the years too, where basically we started like when the United States basically first started out as this little thing. Basically, unless you were white and male and privileged, you basically didn't have any rights whatsoever. And it's basically grown from there to, women's rights, those of color, those that are not, native as well too. And it's like, yeah, like there's always going to be like little bits of stigma and stuff like that too. But each step forward, it's slow. Progress is always going to be slow. And I feel like that's the best way that a lot of times I know we can sometimes really wish that one day that it's like we can just wake up in a world that where everybody is going to have love and acceptance and stuff like that too, that there's going to be where we don't have to worry about those kind of things where it's like um I wish I could just like wake up the next day and it's like I can have the like I can just like say, hey, mom and dad, this is how I feel, and it's like, oh, okay, that's great money, that's that's wonderful. Here's your English muffin. Go to school and have a wonderful day. You know, we have to continue that we have to keep pushing forward so we can actually get to that day one day, so that way not just for us but for those in the future as well too, that they can also have those same experiences as well too. And it can be tough, but I know it's something that's achievable, and I know it's something that we can all do, just as long as we always remember to never give up. Yeah, as long as we always remember to keep pushing forward and doing the best we can. Hi, Ubi Bella. Hello, welcome in, honey. It's so wonderful to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, hun. Thank you for being here. I'm currently joined by Jules. We're having a Pride Month discussion. We're talking about Pride, our transition, our times, and stuff like that too, with everything as well too. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
I just want to
that
see.
like unfortunately, things sometimes seems to be regressing, but whenever like they are a step back, there will always be a step forward.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it's like I think the way to think about it is like waves on the ocean. There are the tides. It's like there are like the tides will come in and the tides will go out, and you'll have moments where things will like it seems like things are moving a little bit forward and stuff too, but then suddenly like things kind of move back a little bit too. But it doesn't mean that there can't be progress forward, there can't be progress forward. There's always going to be those little moments where things kind of like, we have um, our moments where it's like, oh, hey, I thought this was going to be, we're kept moving forward, but oh, suddenly something happened, and now we have those kind of like thoughts where it's like, oh, hey, we're kind of walking back a little bit though, but it's like just because we had a little bit of hiccup, just because something kind of got walked back a little bit, doesn't mean that things can't keep progressing forward. It all takes time, it all takes effort, and the main key goal is just to always continue to the thought of like that we can't give up, because the moment that we give up, that's when we truly accept defeat, and we can't ever do that, because there is a chance for brighter future for ourselves as well too. And we need to keep moving forward the best we can, not just for ourselves, but for our friends, for our families, and those in the future as well too. It's, if any, I think the one thing that I've always thought to myself too, nothing that was ever earned wasn't easy, and sometimes those things that we fight the hardest for can have the greatest reward of them whatsoever. Um, I actually kind of made this weird comparison when it came to Minecraft, because with a lot of the times, um, like when you can have you can have certain aspects in Minecraft where you can have like all everything accessible, everything that you want right there at your fingertips, and you can build that perfect house right then and there, so super fast and instantaneously. But it's like once you get done with it, then you just have it, and you're just like, well, now I have this, but this took me like no time at all. But as opposed to having something that you had to like struggle to go find, you had to dig through certain things as well too. You had to, you maybe even had to like die a couple times in the game, but you made memories along the way too. And I feel like those are sometimes like some of the best things as well too. Like I would hope that one day we can also have these kind of things too, but it's also at the same time like the journeys we shared here together, having this conversation here too. If we didn't have sometimes those little bits of struggles and stuff too, we wouldn't even be having this fun conversation. I don't say fun, but this interesting conversation. Oh, I guess it's kind of fun.
It is fun.
Um, Yes, is like, but like having these kind of conversations, having these kind of dialogues as well too, kind of things as well too between us all, that we can, we can have these kind of moments like this as well too, and it's all part of the progress, it's all part of the growth, it's all part of the journey as well too. It's like we would love to have those days where we can just like wake up and everything is perfect and 100%, and everybody can be happy and everything too, but we have to accept the fact that it's like that's just not how life is.
Yeah,
But life is a struggle. Life is a journey. But we make it each step of the way. We each day we have to make a little bit of progress for. Even if like just waking up that day and doing the bare minimum, like that's still okay. Just always remember that giving up is not okay. That's the big main thing too.
Yeah, I think that it is a progress, but just remember that a lot of times whenever people are struggling, this is for everyone as well, that there are still
Hmm.
people who are experiencing like similar things with you and share the same frustration with you, that are here for you and you're not alone. And that is like essentially why I decided to do this series on Prime Month, because I find myself a lot of times when I answer like advice and questions that I couldn't really like answer because I have never experienced that um in my life,
Hmm.
where people, for example, a lot of my community are arrow A's and I am not. So I'm like, oh, I actually don't really know how to answer you because I never had that experience. So I decided to do this series to help people who might needed this to hear like people are going through like the same thing as them, to understand that, you know, even in a difficult time there are still people who are living the similar experience as you and you're not alone in the space.
Yeah. Also, congratulations, Honks. Thank you, love. Thank you
Yay.
for the hearts as well too. Oh my gosh, how many badges have we got in this stream? Holy crap! Like, holy crap. Uh, sorry. I miss everybody. Yo, my day. Oh, we miss you too, Yagi, and we're happy to see you back here, hun. And I hope to see more of you, hun. But yeah, it's so good to have you. And it said, and it said, like you were saying too as well, Jules. Like it's just I just always remember that there's always people, and I'm honestly honored that you reached out to ask me to be a part of this too. To sit down to want to have this talk with me as well too. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity to be able to be here to sit down and have this conversation with you as well too, because there are obviously like as well too like certain things about people as well too that I in this space as well that I like to learn and be able to share with people about their own kind of experiences as well too, and how they're feeling about stuff as well too. I feel like I think that's something that's very valuable for a lot of us in this space too. It's always, I feel like every day is an opportunity for growth. Every day is an opportunity for growth, and um, trying to do the best you can with everything as well. I think that's always like something that's like a key thing to think of. Um, yeah, with everything as well too, to try to sit there and think like, what can we do to better improve ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm so glad that
Yeah.
you were there here as well. Honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
I I was like when I thought about like doing this series, like you were one of the first person that I thought about, you know.
Oh, thank
So I
you.
hope that that makes you really happy. But yeah,
It honestly does, Jules. It really does, and I'm like I said, I'm so honored that you would think to me as well too, to reach out to ask as well too, because like I said, I do have a lot of self doubt and things like that as well too about myself and my place here, and not just in Nerium, but in other people's lives and stuff too. But I I do a lot of what I do not because like I want to be somebody big in the space. I just want to be somebody that people can feel safe and happy to be around
mm-hmm.
and secured and stuff too. So it makes me happy when there's people that tell me it's like, oh, like I want, like I'm happy that you're here, that I can provide that kind of thing as well for people, in that kind of way as well too. So like I said, I'm honored. I never would have thought like, if you had asked me several years ago, like if I ever thought that like any of this kind of stuff would have been possible, that I would have ever been here, I would have honestly probably laughed at you and been like, not a chance, kind of thing too. But I take it as a very humbling experience and very honored that people like yourself are willing to say, hey, I would really like to have you on here, like and I'm just as so honored and happy to again like that I've had this chance to meet you and to talk to you and share these experiences as well too. They're so fantastic and wonderful. And yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm so happy to have had any all of these kind of moments and stuff too with everybody here. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very glad we met too. It's kind of insane whenever I think about stuff like that, like a lot of things that um like a lot of people, if I didn't like say yes to like a thing that I would always be like kind of like really anxious or like scared, or I would have never met like the people in my life right now. And you were definitely one of them, because I feel like, I don't know, like if I never say yes to like certain clubs that I usually am not really big on, like really big clubs. If I never done
Hmm.
that, I probably would have never met you. Like even though I have seen you around and stuff like that, like I probably would have never like reached out to you.
It can be very scary. It can be very scary to like to reach out to certain people and be like, hey, because again, you never know how people can react to certain things. So it's always like, oh, is this person gonna like is are they going to be cool with this? Like is everything going to be okay? Like are they going to accept, like are they going to say yes, are they going to say no? Like, there's always that scare of like that worry that it's like, "Oh, can I say something wrong? Can I do something wrong in front of these people too?" And they're never going to want to try to to do this with me too, kind of thing as well too. Like am I going to um like I said, like depending on how certain things go as well too. It's like you never really know how things ended up being. But the best thing is that we can do is just try our best, and do try to live the best that we can, and just kind of move forward. Even a little bit is always progress as well too. But yeah, and it's like I understand how very scary it can be. As somebody though who's very extroverted, I could say that it's like for me it's one of those kind of things I do have find itself easier than most to be able to sort of like be more open and out there and honest with people. And I would say honest, but more just like open and out there with people.
Mm,
But I understand that some people's fear as well too when it comes to certain aspects to be like, oh, it's like, oh, do I really want to bother, or do I just want to stay in my safe space? Because the fear of being hurt, the fear of rejection is real, and it's always very very interesting in that sort of sense too, that you want to just like do the best you can to sometimes you just want to stay safe, and you don't want nobody ever wants to get hurt, nobody ever wants to have anything bad happen to them in any kind of way like that either. Also, sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you, but hi Inferny, hi Alex, hi Lurking Capybara, and hi Sanic. Hello, welcome in all everybody, thank
hello.
you guys for being here. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far today. I'm sorry I didn't mean to not say hi to you when you guys came in. I apologize. So thank you guys all for being here. But yeah, like I said, yeah, say with like what a couple people are just like talking about too as well too. It's like how um like their own experiences and stuff too, and it's like it's a great experience. It's a great time to share certain things too. And again, like I'm so happy that you are choosing to do this, and I'm hopeful that I can catch some of your others as well too. Who else you've got lined up
Yeah.
for interviews as well too. I'm excited to hear others' experiences as well too, and how they've done with it as well too, and listening to what shared times you've had with them as well too.
Yeah. I think I unfortunately have to cut it short here because it's getting a little
No,
bit
you're
late. But
no, you're
thank you
fine,
for
honey. I
being
figured it was
here.
getting kind of late because I know it's like what, like probably like 3 a.m. for you at
Yeah,
night at this point in time.
around that time. But yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's late for you, honey, and it's getting late for me as well too, cause I do have to work myself in a few hours, so I have to unfortunately jump off
yeah.
myself too, and I need to figure out something to eat myself. I have not eaten yet today. I've had literally just this one cup of coffee, and that's all
No,
I've
yeah,
had so far.
go
So
eat. Yeah, everyone please remember to go eat and hydrate, But actually, let me hydrate right now.
yes, everybody
Everyone
make
please
sure you guys hydrate as
please
well
follow
too,
me as
and I
well
want to
to
say
hydrate.
thank you guys all for being here and hanging out with us today for this stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed the time talking or listening to me and Jules talk as well too. Like I said, please check out Jules as well. They are an absolutely fantastic individual and a friend of mine as well too, and I am so honored to have met them on here on Irium. And if you guys really like cozy comfy streams as well too, and also these interviews as well too, please make sure to give them a follow. Twitch is linked in my Discord as well too. And I believe their Twitch is also linked in their profile, isn't it? Yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. So you can see Jules in chat there too. So make sure you guys give them a follow here on Irium. Give them a follow on Twitch as well too, so you can catch out any other fun interviews that they do in the future as well.
Yeah, please everyone, please go follow Babs. I'm not joking. Please. And also people always ask me like what am I doing when I'm like not streaming? I'm just like I'm on Ethereum, guys. Please get with the program. Join me there.
Yes, we love our Irium viewers as well too. Not just our Irium streamers, but also our Irium viewers as well too. You guys are the lifeblood that keeps us going on here as well too. So please know that not just, while the streamers are on here, we're doing our things as well too. It is also those that are here as viewers as well too, and how much we love you guys and appreciate you guys being here. So folks like Shijo, Pony Bro, and Fantasy Star, as well too, Card Wizard, Greed as well. Like so many people, Alex and Sanic, all of you guys too. I hope you guys know how much you are all loved and cherished, and we appreciate you guys all being here as well too. And I want to say thank you to all the streamers that are on here as well too, that are here hanging out as well. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Anybody who could be lurking in the background, because I know Irium has that fun little thing where after a while it'll kind of just like kind of bop you out into the void. Um, Ziri, let them go out of the void. Ziri, let them out of the void if they're hiding there with you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining today. I really appreciate it. And thank you Babs for being
But yes,
here. And remember to eat,
thank you as
it's very
well.
important,
Thank you,
everyone.
well, Jules. Yes, food is very important. Make sure you guys are having some food as well too. Get some drinks and stuff too. And I will catch you guys over on the next stream. I will probably do another stream when I walk home tonight as well too, to see if we can. I not to sound, not to put a negative spin on anything like this as well too, but just looking at how the rankings are going at this point in time, I think I will be happy with us if we can at least stay in the top 10. So at this point in time, if we could at least stay in the top 10 at this point in time, I think the interview is kind of, I think the top three is out of our reach at this point, but it is okay because, we'll still try to at least see if we can stay somewhere in a certain spot of here too. So, but thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate you guys all so much, and I will catch you guys over on the next one. So, thank you again, Ziri. Big huggies to you. Kiss on forehead. Shijo, thank you so much. Big huggies to you. Kiss on the forehead to you as well.
Okay, sorry guys. I have to mute for a second because Bob is doing the goodbyes and the ending stream. Soon, I really need to go if I'm gonna be honest. I have to take some meds because of some issues that I'm having. But thank you for everyone for having me, for joining me today. I know that I miss a lot of people's chat, but I wanted to focus this on like August, and I hope everyone uh had a good time. Okay, I am streaming tomorrow as well. But I do need to get some rest because I my joints are killing me right now, if I'm gonna be honest. And I hope everyone enjoy your time. Sorry that there were times that I wasn't talking much, but I really want to hear out people's experience as well. And I would also like to remind everyone that I know that I missed some messages and I have received some questions as well. And I just want to say that I am doing a stream like at the end of June that it would just be me. So I would be more like able to catch on with chat as well. Um, so if you have any questions or like advice, I probably will post something later next week for people to submit if they have anything that they want to share as well. So yeah, thank you for those who stuck by. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for being here. I said this before, but I I really appreciate people who my committee for being so excited when I first announced the stream and like my plans and stuff like that. Since you guys know that I kind of had uh I kind of had a rough time before. So it's very good to be back, and I'm very glad to see you guys here. So thank you everyone, and Babs, let me shout you out as well. Remember everyone, please follow Babs because Babs is so wonderful and so supportive for me. But yeah, I am streaming again tomorrow. Sorry that I had to end kind of abruptly. I just have to take my meds. So, but tomorrow I am playing the demo of the day with Dabs 2. And it would be on our usual time, 11 a.m. EST, 3 p.m. GMT, and 12 a.m. JST. And I am very excited for it. Like, I know that a lot of people like when I play like visual novels and stuff like that. So here is it. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Um, I think that, well, I can say it right now. I don't know if she's still in chat. I think she might be resting right now. But I can tell you guys who's is my next week guest. My next week guest for the Pride Talk series is Star, who you guys might have seen in chat before. She is also a streamer and a very close friend of mine. And she will be our next guest. So I will also announce that next week. But yeah, he is a little like sneak peek. I think she probably is like taking a nap right now. But yeah, thank you for being here, everyone. And I will stream again tomorrow. And if we finish the demo sooner than I expected, then I will be um probably finding another demo to play. But thank you for being here. And yeah, I appreciate everyone. And again, happy Pride Month. Um, because I have to say it every stream, and I appreciate all the people who been sticking by me, and also all the lurkers as well. Thank you, everyone. But yeah, take care. Remember to eat. Hydrate, and also take care of yourself. Okay. I will see you guys again next week. Not next week, sorry. Tomorrow. But yeah, we will do more yapping tomorrow before I start playing the demo, okay? Take care everyone. Bye.